today and got shut out
If you can tell.
today by.
Oh, they already played today?
Yeah, they play 3 days in a row.
Yeah, I realized it's not early today though.
They play in the same town.
Yes, yes, that's bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, 6 something.
Do you want
That's what
to-
they were yesterday.
That was a crazy night.
Oh
I
my
didn't
gosh,
see it.
what
I
a
didn't-
game!
I didn't-
Only other bases loaded, there's nobody out.
Oh, yeah. I haven't
Got
got
out of it
Was it
though.
It is 6:30, so we'll go ahead and go.
Yeah.
Welcome to the October 1st meeting of the Durham Planning Board, regular town meeting. So we have 5 members, so we have a quorum, and we will, next is the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amendments to the agenda, are there any? Seeing none, take a motion to accept the agenda. Wait, I'm sorry, don't need to do anything here. Acceptance of meeting minutes for September 3rd.
The one
Any adjustments on the meeting minutes?
One question I have, it's under new business on item 7. It says the vote was 4-0, 1 abstention, is that correct?
No.
Should just be 4-0.
4-0, yeah, George, there's only 4 of us.
That's the only one thing that I
Good catch on.
Other than that, I would move to accept as presented.
I'll second.
As amended?
As amended.
As amended, second that?
Yep.
It's been moved and accepted. Anybody have any comments, questions, or discussion? If not, please raise your hand to accept the minutes. 4-0. Informational exchange on non-agenda items, town officials. Mr. Tavares, the town planner, please.
I did include my monthly report in the packet, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Not to drag it out, but could you maybe spend a couple of minutes on the, you did a nice job presenting at the select board meeting last week, just very quickly, where we are on the grants and, kind of what you talked about there.
Yeah, so GPCOG has applied for 2 grants for economic development purposes, one for energy and one for doing the study of that area that's been identified as potential for an agricultural and energy economic development district. So one is for the energy, one is for 20,000 that will look townwide at alternative energy connections and opportunities. And then, as I said, the larger one, which is I think 70,000, will go toward the economic development area study. We did-
100K.
Pardon me?
It's 100K. 100,000.
It's 95K combined, I think.
Oh, okay.
20 and 75.
Oh, okay.
And we did discuss, Brian, I know you were interested in the issue of an economic development committee. If those grants come through, then there'll be plenty of resources to do an economic, and it'll be a real need to have an economic development committee to kind of manage that whole process as you guys do the development reviews and ordinance work. As a fallback, GPCOG has indicated that they have potentially as much as 10,000 in their staff time. They have an economic development aid arm, and they could provide some technical assistance to the town. And then as a third fallback was if neither of those come through or say the GPCOG is like an interim step, then some money can be put into the next budget cycle in June of next year to fund an economic development program going forward. So that's basically what was discussed at the select board meeting.
I think the only thing I'd add to that is if they get funding of some kind, they'll be looking to form an economic development committee that may include, if you're interested, anyone, Brian in particular, spoken up, if you want to join that, but they won't do that until after they have some kind of funding. So, just be
I've got
prepared.
2 questions.
Go ahead.
One, is the, I want to get this right.
Your George's report.
Yes, I am, under Economic Development Program number 4. Is it focused, or is the area of South Durham already, if we do get that money, it's already focused? And who came up with the South Durham?
Pretty much the select board has indicated their support for doing that. It kind of came about as discussions of that Mission Clean Energy battery storage. So we did quite a bit of review of that area. And as I indicated in the report, it just has a lot for an initial economic development. And I think one of the concerns is trying to get something moving.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna take years before you establish it, get development going in it, and then to get something on the tax rolls. So that's why it's kind of looked at, this area is like prime, and the select board feels that it's within the character of Durham in terms of its rural character. So given the limitations of the town for other forms of economic development, the select board supports the idea of just focusing on that initially. Doesn't say that the town can't expand beyond that, but there are some real opportunities there to focus on at this point in time.
Okay, so it'll be fixed to South Durham, and
It's the area basically east of Hollowell Road, south of the power line, along Brown Road, over, it's all that area where you get all those gravel pits is one of the big issues there.
okay,
Those are prime for future solar farms.
okay. And then this is gonna roll into the comp plan
Yes.
update, right?
And again, this can be a nucleus or template for future economic development efforts.
Okay, thank you.
Good question.
Any other questions for George on that one? If not, let's move on to residents' comments, public comments. Anybody have a question, comment that's not on tonight's agenda? Chief?
I'm good, thank you.
You're welcome. Non-residents? Seeing none, we'll move on to continuing business. A public hearing on proposed bulky waste company at 20 Soper Road, map 4, lot 97. Public comment will be taken. So where we were, come on up. And please state your name and your affiliation with the address and affiliation with the project.
My name is Matthew Morehouse, that's Moorhouse. I'm a owner of Bulky Waste Pickup, I'm a resident at 1026 Hollow Road.
Okay. Okay, so before we can go on, last meeting we stopped early because you had not notified all the appropriate folks, so.
Correct.
Have you done it? Do you have something to show us?
Yes, sir.
And by the way, we don't like to do this in the meeting, so it would have been a whole heck of a lot better if you had gotten it to us earlier. But let's go ahead and see what you got.
Well, yeah, from my understanding, we didn't get to start the meeting last time
No,
because
but
we didn't, I
you
didn't
did do it,
notify,
but
so
I
I
don't-
notified the,
Gotcha. The expectation is all the stuff you're gonna give us tonight would have been handed off to the town planner before tonight.
okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. But okay, go ahead.
Well, my apologies, I can simply make copies and facilitate whatever you guys.
Let's see what we need
Okay.
first. I think the
Appreciate
first
that.
step is evidence that you notified everybody.
Yep, yeah, certified mail for the people that were not notified, and then signed applications or the notice.
If you would hand those to Mr. Sabar and give him a second to, George, if you would peruse them quickly, to see if we've got what we need to get started.
Yeah, I really can't check to verify, but I will just assume that they are the correct.
Okay. Works for me. Okay, so the next step then is if you would give us, is everybody else okay?
We're gonna assume that all the abutters have been notified?
Yep.
Okay.
Got the, I mean, if not, we can stop here. I'm asking.
So it's a really good point. This piece is not in our ordinance as far as submission timeline, resubmission, right? And so I wanna talk about that later when we get into that piece of the update for the ordinance, but right now, there's nothing in our ordinance that talks about timeline. So although it does stink, it would be great to have more time. There's nothing in the ordinance, but I think as a board, we can say, if we feel like we need more time, I think we can do that.
And I'm asking if we're comfortable moving forward at this point, or we punt it down the road. We do not have a requirement like 2 weeks before, as we
Right.
did with the
Not
original
yet.
submission.
Yeah.
And that's a good point.
So,
And that was a condition last time, was that
Yeah.
everybody was notified ahead of the meeting.
In the meeting, it was just, the issue is,
If you would like, why don't you go ahead and proceed with the public hearing and I'll be checking. I won't be able to take notes at the same time, but I will do that.
okay, that, if you don't mind, I'll turn, look at everybody else, or if you don't mind too much.
yeah, if you don't mind,
In fairness, in the past, we've always asked that this be part of the application beforehand.
And it wasn't, and so now they're fixing there's some other stuff that we asked for as well that we'll get to, when we go down there. And if at any time we're not comfortable that we've got what we need, or we don't have time to review it, we can stop.
actually, should we talk about the rest of the stuff that we asked for right now?
We can see if he has it before we get any
Yeah.
further, okay? So there were three total things that we asked for, as I went back and looked at the notes and watched the movie today. One was the correct notification of abutters, one was a site plan, and then the third was proof that you have the authorization to do all of this, because I think you're working off of a purchase agreement. So a copy of the purchase agreement, I have the deed of the property, whose name is on the deed, have you bought it?
Yes, sir.
So it's in, waste, whatever? Yeah. While George is looking at that, I'll look at the deed quickly. Okay.
I also think, yeah, we did ask for a site plan or map or
And a
something.
site plan as well, so wherever they
Yeah,
go.
there was a, something included in the application for that.
No, there's a picture. There was a photograph off the GIS or something that, what we were asking for is where are the dumpsters going to be, where are you going to park?
Well, in theory, they're not gonna be anywhere, because they're gonna be out on client's property, but they're gonna be there's like one or two of them that are gonna be parked in that big lot.
So in theory, all but one or two of them are not gonna be on the property.
Well, at any given point in time, there might be one or two, but that's it. There's nothing,
But what we asked you to do is to provide this.
correct. So we notified the abutters, that's the deed,
George is figuring out if that's done, the deed's done, now we're on to the site plan.
okay.
And did you provide any, or do you have with you any?
I was under the understanding that what was provided in the original application was okay. When we didn't start last meeting, I was just under the impression of the deed that you wanted to see and the people in the abutters.
Okay, I was very clear, I went back and looked at the movie.
Okay.
It was clear, I said at that time we wanted a site plan. It was in the minutes which were posted, and it was in Mr. Tabarge's notes that we wanted the site plan showing this information. So there were three different ways that information was given to
Okay,
you.
well, sorry about that, but I did not, whatever was included in the application on that photo that's what I have for your site plan.
The abutters have been notified.
Super, thank you, George. Okay, well, 2 out of 3, you've done what we asked you to do. And the third one, there is no doubt in my mind, having done what I said today, looked at the movie, it was clear that I was asking for that, and it came out more than once.
Well, that's fine, I can get a site plan, sir, that's not
Okay.
it's not a problem at all.
And I
Like
tried
I
to
said, whatever you guys need to facilitate, it's not a problem, it's my first time going through this, I don't know, so you gotta help me I gotta be educated on it as well.
Here's
okay?
what I've got to say about that. We have an excellent town planner. So if you have questions or you're unsure, then reach out to him well before the meeting and say,
Right,
I've got these 2 things, I'll bring them to the meeting, is that okay? What else do I, now, I'm not telling you how to suck an egg or what you should do. But, I mean, to the board members, I don't think he's done what we asked him to do.
my,
And I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to drag this out, I'm looking around left and right, what are others?
Yeah, I can read from the minutes. The board advised the applicant to provide more details on the proposed location of dumpsters and to address the potential need for buffering. So at a minimum, that's what we had asked before. But I will also recall that I was curious as to where the resource protection was. So if you do create a site plan, I would like to see that line on the map as well.
but could I ask you resource protection from,
It's a zone, so it exists on a small part, I think just a small part of your property. So, and Mr. Tavares can help
It's
you.
pretty much everything on the front right corner within 100 feet of the stream is the resource protection. But none of the area that they're looking at is within that in
I
terms of
understand that, but I
buildings.
still would like to see
Just
if
draw
it's
it
on
up.
the property where.
So we're not asking for anything fancy, just either a survey that you bought it with or a good enough drawing that we can see the two houses. We can see the garage or shed or whatever is in the back. There's an open space in front of that that looks like it's gravel or paving. So where are you gonna keep the dumpsters? And then, Juliet has asked for the resource protection. And this is stuff we ask all the time, so if there's any, if you need any more clarity, then Mr. Tavares can help you, you know, give you the GIS webpage and all that other stuff, so. Brian, to my left, do you have any comments?
No, I think we covered it.
And this is something we ask everybody to do, this isn't unique to waste dumpsters or anything else, the guy who got the non-conforming use or conditional use before you did it, and others have done it, so we need you to do that, is that, would everybody agree with me that we ask him to come back?
Jesus.
But maybe we should add a certain time.
Can I collect all that stuff and move forward with any other questions or concerns from folks that don't need to waste their time coming back here?
It's very hard for the public or anybody else to have a discussion when they can't see it. So, but I'll defer to,
Do we reschedule the public hearing?
we still would need to do the public hearing, if that's what we wanna do. I have another concern, which is there's a clock, once we accept this, there's a clock that starts ticking. And we have 60 days to approve or disapprove, or it's automatically approved, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Tavares.
That is correct.
So we're under the clock, so
Even though you meet once a month?
we only meet once a month.
Can I suggest something? Could we have more than one public hearing? There's people here today, I think, for the public hearing. It might
Yes,
be
you can
beneficial
have
for
the
you to
public
hear.
hearing, documents have been submitted.
And then the clock starts,
Oh, once the public hearing is,
Well, once you determine that you have a complete
which we don't
Yeah,
have.
which we don't have.
So we're still got the 60 days.
The clock
No.
hasn't started yet.
It hasn't started
Yeah,
yet.
because we haven't accepted it as a complete
But if we do
fact.
the public hearing, then it starts.
But would it
Well-
be helpful to hear?
Yeah, but at this rate, I don't wanna start the clock.
It's not starting until you send us what we need, which you,
Yeah.
so next meeting probably it would start.
There's only, the two folks who I think are here for that reason are you, what are your thoughts? That would mean you'd have to come back the first Wednesday of November.
We're not that far, it's okay.
Okay. And so, I guess I'm playing hardball. I'm gonna just be upfront, not because I don't like you, you seem like a nice guy, not that we don't want your business, but we were really clear on what we wanted. And we said that the staff was there to assist if needed.
Yep, well, I apologize, I clearly misunderstood that. That's why if I thought I needed the help, I would have reached out. I
Okay.
didn't, I thought I checked off all the boxes, I clearly didn't.
You did, in our opinion, you did.
That's fine, so thank you guys for your time.
One more thing, do we wanna lay out a requirement for when we get the materials in advance of next meeting? So we don't, like a week before versus getting it day of?
It's already established, right?
Well,
No, there's no, I
no.
mean, you could bring it in at the next, we would prefer, obviously, the more advanced notice, the better prepared we are on that, so.
I would offer another suggestion. If you want to help the applicant, you could schedule an additional meeting. Continue this meeting until
Separate from,
separate from our regular meeting.
What's the possibility of, in the middle of this month?
if we're open to doing that. We need to come up with meeting dates for
Public hearings.
the public meetings on land use ordinance. So in 2 weeks, I mean, the next 3 or 4 or 5 Wednesdays are available. So,
Could we request that the materials are provided to us a week before?
Definitely.
we can.
Okay, so I say we do that.
Here's my thought, is that, it's not my consensus, but is the rest of the board, if you wanna do it in, because we are going to meet, it will take probably an hour to go through the public comments and everything else, I'm talking about his thing. So do we use one of our, Wednesdays in the future to do that?
Can we do both on the same day?
Yeah, we would, it's just we wouldn't have as much time maybe, but we'd run out of time.
I will make a motion that the applicant will provide all the information to us by the 8th of October,
Week from today.
a week from today, and we have a public hearing on the 15th.
Is that doable?
Yeah, I'm ready to roll, I'll get all that stuff, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, we have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Just another comment. Has the applicant received the comments from the public that we received via email?
George, I think yes, right?
Yeah, they're
You
online.
know about the questions?
Yeah, there were 2 emails. so-
Yeah, a lot of the questions, I saw those, but I was waiting for a public comment to answer those. A lot of those were repetitive,
No, not
and you
tonight.
answered very easily.
So they'll be part of the public hearing.
That's
Okay,
what I
we'll
thought,
add
that's why I
that.
didn't give a written
Yeah,
response to
just
that.
wanted to-
That's
I didn't
what
think
I
that
was
was
trying to
necessary.
get before, yeah.
Okay, so just there's 2 of them, I don't know, bunch of questions.
Yeah, I saw the questions, those are, a lot of them, a lot of them are answered in the application, believe it or not, so.
Be prepared to
That's
say,
fine.
this is the application. So the more prepared you are, and I would just say that after you get us the site plan, that just confirm with Mr. Thabarge that.
So that's, as of right now, that's what's needed for a week from today.
Yes.
It's the site plan.
Yeah,
Again, it's not looking for a formal site plan of construction, it's just a accurate drawing that shows where activities, vehicles, dumpsters, storage, what buildings are gonna be used. Right now, you have a picture of the property, and that's really the only information the board has to go by.
Yeah,
and it's too
Just
small.
provide a
yeah,
site-
because we're just parking.
a
So-
sketch drawing, show where the parking areas,
Yeah.
where it's gonna be parked, any storage, those sorts of information.
Okay.
Also,
And
Doesn't have to be a
resource
professional
protection,
site plan.
No, I didn't, that's fine.
well, also please add the resource protection on there where that is, and also if you're proposing any buffering. I don't know if you are or not, but if you are, it would be good to see.
Okay, resource protection.
Yeah, you see right on the map here, on
Yeah.
the GIS, that corner,
We'll be with you
that
just a second.
stream, that's 100 feet from the
Oh.
stream onto the property.
Okay.
It's right on the GIS. of the
Yeah.
town.
Okay, so while that's going on, I have a motion but no second, correct?
Yes,
Second, I have a motion and a second, any other discussion? To postpone,
The motion is to
to
push,
Two weeks.
the requirement on the 8th, that's your motion.
The motion is to have all the necessary information provided to us by the 8th of October. And we will reconvene, have a public meeting on the
15th of October.
15th of October.
So,
at 6:30.
since you all have come twice, does the 15th of October work on your calendars?
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
If
Okay,
we don't have the information by the 8th,
then he
pushed out
we'll
to-
tell you that we're not doing it on the 15th.
We'll do it at the next meeting.
Well, we'll just,
Not
we'll
necessarily.
be all set, but
Okay.
thank you very much, guys, I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
any
Okay.
questions, ask Mr. Thabarge.
I will certainly do so, I'm just gonna get him that site plan for tomorrow.
Okay, head up, we're good,
Alright?
good, thank you. I have a
I'll
motion.
second that motion.
Okay, and a motion and a second, do we have any further discussion? Seeing none, would you vote to, according to that motion? Raise your hand. If you don't, would you raise your hand? So, that's the first time I've ever not been nice.
Is that?
Yes, it truly is the first time. Okay, so if we have a 4-1, George, that will do the dates that we discussed.
So you voted against that,
I voted against it.
you didn't like pushing it.
I thought we gave them plenty of opportunity.
Well,
Oh, I see, okay, I wanted to understand.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I voted because I thought he had plenty of opportunity, but, we do wanna help the citizens, so we've done that. Ms. Roy, I believe it's your turn. So the next one, so for everybody who's looking at the agenda, we passed over, 6A and 6B. Yeah, we're now into, and thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you in a couple weeks maybe.
You will see you in a couple of weeks, I
Thank
hope.
you, George.
maybe.
Thanks,
thank
Jason.
Okay, so this is new business request for approval of a maintenance agreement for Cedar Drive, map 7, lot 6, no public comment will be taken. So before we get started, and George, Ms. Roy asked you to just kind of give us a brief thing. Just kind of reminder, this is for all we're looking at tonight is the maintenance agreement. So the design of the road, the breakout of the road is not part of tonight's, work effort. So we'll vote yea or nay on the maintenance agreement, which is the planning board's responsibility. So, Ms. Roy, if you wanna kick us off.
So we're just here to, well, I'm here to have the road agreement approved for,
Sorry, do you need to say your name?
I'm Heather Roy.
Oh, thank
I live at 777 Hollowell Road, and I'm here representing Stonex Landscaping and Excavation.
Do you have a letter notifying us that you can represent them?
There, it was on the request for the meeting.
The application.
Okay.
So we are proposing a road, private road that goes from an existing public way. And this has been scrutinized by the road commissioner,
If you want
the code enforcement officer, the town planner, and the surveyor. We've all worked together collectively to get this to where that it is to meet the necessary requirements that they all felt were necessary, in terms of road frontage for the lots, et cetera. And so you have that plan in front of you, and I wasn't sure what the rules were about like the stamp seal and stuff, so I made sure that you all had a copy, but I brought the official seal.
We don't need that.
Okay.
We're good with what we got.
And so that is the template road agreement that was provided, and we just made it so that it made sense with the road plan that we have here. And I'm happy to answer whatever questions you have.
The key is not what you just discussed, the key is the maintenance agreement, that's all we're looking at.
Yep.
So there's, I think, 8 requirements that are supposed to be in a maintenance agreement, which Mr. Thabarge, and maybe should have started with him, but Mr. Thabarge went down that list of, well, out of the land use ordinance, what the requirements are. So, none of which are that, so the requirements are statement of ownership interest, which they provided, statement is on the, this is on the actual, maintenance agreement, statement that subsequent lots that are created must be parties to the maintenance agreement, which is on there. Acknowledgement the town has no responsibility for maintenance, which is on there. Statement that responsibility is transferred to all subsequent owners of the lots with planning board notification, that's on there. Requirement that all deeds for the lots reference the maintenance agreement, which there is on the agreement. If the private way is an extension of existing road, that's not, must be offered to existing lot owners, that's not the case. Authority place liens for non-payment, that's the maintenance cost, that's on there. And requirements the maintenance agreement be recorded and no building permits issued for new lots until that happens. So basically, they met the requirements of our maintenance agreement. In my opinion.
I agree.
My humble opinion. So, having said that, do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, any other discussion? Seeing none, if you agree, if you accept, please raise your
This is
hand.
what happens when you get your homework done.
Thank you.
And John's nice.
A cheap shot, he's not here. Okay, thank you, Pass.
Do you want this back?
appraisal.
Recycle?
Yes.
Maybe I wanted to hang it while we were.
You will?
No, I don't. Thank you for asking.
Okay.
Okay, so we're done, thank you.
You're welcome.
Very
Can I
good.
just say one thing? I brought, I think the ordinance says 10 copies, and I'm sure that when you guys are reviewing your things, right, there are not 10 planning board members.
That's a
and-
proposal.
Okay,
That is a
I did it because that's what it said to do, but I
Well,
felt
I
very
did see a note
unnecessary.
on the
We're revising
application,
that.
10 copies, and
Yeah.
someone signed it, so
electronic
we got them.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, everyone.
Just remember to vote for the changes to the land use ordinance, that'll be taken reduced significantly.
Please.
And I would love to stay, but I'm sorry, I'm going to.
You're always-
Thank
You can watch it on TV tomorrow for the
Yeah,
scenes.
it's obviously.
you.
Okay, so that's new business, other business. Planning board discussion of public review process for draft land use ordinance amendments. Comment will not be taken. George, do you wanna go ahead and just kind of bring us up to speed? I mean, we've got a lot of work done. I think you've got some additional handouts, so.
Yeah, I do, and I will go over there, but first, just to frame where we are, is, we've prepared 2 sets of amendment sets within the policy and administrative changes that are being proposed. Again, this is going to be a separate warrant article containing all of this. And then the codification is going to be the main warrant article. Now, we are including the codification piece in here simply for the public participation and information process, but just remember, there are gonna be 2 warrant articles, one with the codification and then one with these policy and administrative changes. So we've worked on those pretty much starting in June, all the way through the summer. You've got all the drafts in your packet. And what I've been doing over the last week is preparing these summary sheets. I did send to you all of the administrative change ones. I think there were like 10 of those. And what I have to share with you tonight, if you have any questions on those, I'd be happy to go over them. Any suggestions for changes to the informational sheets. And then we can go over the half a dozen policy issues tonight. And we can kind of use the summary sheets, those tables that are in there, just to talk about it. Make sure you're all up to speed with the policy proposals. And then you need to discuss getting a schedule for the actual public information meetings. And I think what I had suggested, and another thing to discuss, is whether or not to hold 2 public information meetings and have the first one be the policy issues. And I think you can get through that in one evening. And then take public input on those, because I think that's what people are gonna wanna talk about, if anything. And then the follow-up meeting process, decide if you wanted to make changes based on the public input, and then go over the administrative changes or administrative updates, which are more mechanical, no policy changes. So that's kind of my framework for the whole thing.
Okay, any questions well, there's been a lot of work by all of us, you and George on this, so, I think, did you wanna hand out those 4 handouts?
If you want to go there next, I can.
Yeah, we're gonna go there sooner or later. But any comments on the stuff that George has done, either the 139 plus, or the minor policy changes, so, we have, I guess if there's something that we wanna change before it goes out to the public, now's the time to do it. There's also an opportunity after the public has commented to respond to their comments, and or add our, anything that we've thought of since then, so.
I do have a couple comments. Maybe we focus on the codification section first and then we do the policy and admin afterwards, just to kind of separate, maybe, just a thought.
Okay,
I've got a couple on the codification.
okay,
One is number 17, wondering how we are defining floodway lines. So
Can you
question,
give us the reference in the packet page?
Is it Article 17
it's question 17 right there.
On page what?
Question 17, section 19.85, does that help, or no? It's, I
Down
just,
the right-hand corner of the page, there should be a page.
bottom
number.
right,
no, I'm looking at,
you're looking at the article.
I think
Oh,
I'm,
you did. It may not be on that.
it's very soon as,
Are you from the packet or no?
I don't know, I
Okay,
downloaded this.
you said question 17, is that?
Yes, question 17.
Okay, so on the packet, this is on page 68 of the packet for everybody else.
Oh, I see what you're saying, I'm sorry, I wasn't in the packet.
It's on
Yep.
page 68, George, I think
Yes,
it's,
yep.
Okay, 17,
is it
so
this one right here?
floodway. Has to do with floodway.
Floodway encroachment lines.
Okay, so one of the principles that they've looked at and most code people do is if you have a term that's in your definitions, but it's not used anywhere in the ordinance,
Yeah,
what is the purpose of that?
understood. But I guess I'm wondering, if we're not using this, what are we using in our ordinance to define the floodway line?
It will be whatever is in the state model that FEMA administers.
Okay,
There is actually, I'm trying to think,
floodplain?
well, there is in our ordinance a flood management article, okay?
Yeah.
That's based on the state, used to be the state planning office, had a model ordinance like shoreline zoning. And so in order to qualify for the National Flood Insurance Program, you have to have an ordinance that controls development in the floodplain.
Yeah,
So it has elevation, reference points, it has all that technical information. So
okay, so it's defined
so
differently.
what they are
It's
doing, what they
defined-
are going to do, what they've already done, is they've gone through, and you notice in that's in the definitions, but if you jump over to article on page 78 of the packet, you'll see floodplain management.
Which question is it?
It starts with question 104.
Okay.
Okay, so you'll see they've gone through the floodplain management regulations and compared it to the state model, which we're required to meet in order to qualify for the National Flood Insurance Program. So you can see they've gone through and updated everything,
Okay,
and they've pretty much, you
okay.
have to go by that model.
Okay, so in other words, we're defining it somehow as it should be in our ordinance, but it's just not
It's
what
using
we
different
had
term,
it
it's probably
before.
using different
Okay.
terminology.
Alright, I'm okay with that.
Good.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And then one more on codification number 54. Just curious.
Page 73, George. Numbers.
This is good that she's looking through, I really like that.
Yeah.
We wanna make sure it's right.
So this says, clarify which board reviews groundwater extraction. And so the proposal is to change to the planning board reviews groundwater extraction. My question was, how are we reviewing groundwater extraction? So this might be above and beyond this,
It
but
would be most likely a conditional use, like if somebody wanted to start a water bottling
Yeah.
operation. And so, right now, the ordinance just says the board.
oh no, I know, I understand that, I guess
Yeah.
this goes above and beyond, it's like, how are we looking at this? We get the data and then what? We talked about this before, we have it in our ordinance, but what are we doing? Like, how are we able to? And this, maybe next time, let's like put this down for next review, right? Like,
Well,
what are
is
we
that-
looking at for groundwater
Yeah, I think the
extraction?
whole groundwater ordinance could be looked at,
Yeah.
the groundwater regulations.
Yeah.
You know, you have the mobile home park has a public well, the schools have a public well, you have to review projects and notify them of any project within 1,500 feet of the school.
Yeah.
To tell them something's, so obviously, you know, the aquifers in this town provide everybody with water.
Right.
And
But what
so,
about like when we're running into situations where people are running out of water on their wells and there's a subdivision being proposed next door?
yes, that's right.
Do we do anything?
Yeah, so as part of the subdivision review process, that can and should be looked at.
Yeah.
So that if, you know, right now you've got a drought situation, so it's not necessarily development that's drawing it down.
Right.
They have a shallow well. So, but, and we saw this on the Day Road subdivision. They had a hydrologist look at, and Bowie Hill, basically they look at the whole watershed that's on the project, they look at the infiltration rates, the rainfall rates, and they look at wells in the area to see how deep they are and what flows they have.
Yeah.
And really, with the low density development that you have, it's really not an issue. It's out in Montana where I work, they did 1,000 lot subdivisions and dropped the water table 20
Okay,
feet by sucking well out for their whole big community.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what it's really designed to
Yeah.
deal with.
I just bring it up because if it's in the code that we do this, but I
Yep.
was thinking about like, what are we really
Mhm.
doing? So for the future, it'd be.
It would seem to be kind of project specific.
Yeah,
In
and-
some ways,
and if any project comes up, you know, it could be a conditional use review for any number of things. Anything from being we're gonna do water bottling to someone has water intensive use, like some of the economic development district, potential agricultural greenhouses and stuff that use a lot of water. This just provides how you do those studies and who use it. And right now, the language is in there, and it just says the board, but it doesn't say which board. That's
So that
what
we're
this-
saying that the planning
It'll
board
be the
will,
planning
yeah,
board.
okay, great, thank you so much. That's it for codification for me.
Anything other questions on the magic 139? Okay, then I guess we're into minor policies, is the next topic we had. So.
Okay, so what I propose to do, just to make this manageable in terms of your absorbing the information,
Thank you.
is taking them one at a time.
Goes, works for me.
So the first one is backlots and private ways. And again, I think what we can
If it
do
works for
is use that comparison table just to say, look, if you can absorb it in this fashion, then hopefully the public can too.
Jody, if you wanna pile them up here, I'll hand them on to Jody, so you walking around.
We need the exercise.
That's what works with Dallas, it works for me.
Thank you.
Okay, so what I've done on all of these is basically prepared a chart that says, here's what the town is doing right now in the ordinance, and here's what's being proposed. So for backlots and private ways, which we've been discussing for years now, this system that is in place in the ordinance where the code officer and the town road commissioner review the plan, and the planning board only gets to look at the maintenance agreement. Doesn't really make any sense to have this bifurcation. So most towns treat those types of private roads outside of subdivisions that are being built pretty much to serve lots that bypass the subdivision review process, because they're exempt. You could have over time 10 lots on all these things. And in some cases, there have been that, where every 5 years, they can add another lot without ever getting a subdivision review. So this provides at least a town review of the road itself. And so the current regulations mix backlots with private ways, and it even says private way in there, but it calls it multiple backlots, so it's just very confusing. Code officers have inconsistently applied the regulations because they're so confusing. So you've had some code officers that are approving 2-acre lots on these things, and other code officers that are approving 5-acre lots because the language is so confusing. So what this proposes to do is separate out single backlot access, which will stay up to 5 acres, approved by the code officer, and instead of having to build a 20-foot wide road to serve one house, it'll allow a 16-foot driveway that will be reviewed by the fire chief before a building permit's issued to make sure that he can service that house with his equipment, his vehicles. So then private ways will be moved out of that article section into what is currently roads. And that will be retitled and reframed to be private way, and that will have everything in there that's needed in the review process for one of these private roads serving non-subdivision lots, which will have the road plan, the maintenance agreement, the review process, it'll all be right in that one section. And there is a draft in your packet of what will be included in that. So that's basically, and this explains that. Hopefully, someone could have.
It's very clear. My only comment here is we're showing the changes.
Yeah.
The idea is to show the changes. 2 of these, there's no changes. Like maintenance agreement, we're not changing, and we're not changing single backlot. I understand why they're in here.
Yeah.
Because they're related.
So you think those should come out?
I mean, I don't know.
Or just say no change.
Or I mean, it's, I guess my thought is the less busy these are,
Yeah.
the better. If we're not changing single backlot, I would say get rid of it. Same with maintenance agreement. If someone questions, so what about maintenance agreement? Well, then we can say it's no changes there.
Well, then the other argument may be, once it's presented, somebody's gonna say, what about the single backlot? Well, why haven't you stated it?
Well, we
Okay.
talked about it, but there was no change, but it can go either way.
Yeah,
You're
I mean, I'm
right.
sure it's that,
You're right, it makes sense, I just wonder if less.
And this
Seems redundant,
doesn't identify every single text change. What it does is it tries to summarize, here's the system that's currently in place, here's the system that will be in place after.
Okay,
That's what it's intended to communicate.
okay, I mean, with saying it that way, it's kind of,
it may
it should
answer,
include all of it.
questions
I
up front,
guess.
so.
Yeah,
Since
I'm
we've
good
had,
either
we've
way.
had so much discussion on backlogs over the last few years, it just,
Well,
I'm okay either way.
first off, I like the fact we're going to a 16-foot road. I think that's probably overdue. The other question I have, I'll just throw out there, is why is a single back lot 5 and a multiple back lot 2? What is the,
Well, again, back lots are like a species. And they're intended, most towns do this so that you got some backland and you can access it without going through subdivision. And part of what that does, is it takes the pressure off land for development purposes.
no, I understand that, but what's?
Yeah, so in any case, but to get it accepted, again, in the past, the whole housing zoning situation is changing. The towns wanted to require those to be 5 acres. And what happened was, they squeezed the private way parts in there. And so those also got subjected to the 5 acre lots, which I don't think was ever the intent, maybe it was. But in any case, most towns have that completely separate. Back lots, 5 acres, if that's what the town wants to require, sometimes don't. Sometimes would allow a 2 acre lot.
Well, and that's my question is, having said all of that, what's wrong with 2 acres?
Well, there's nothing wrong other than it would be a bigger policy change than what's being discussed here. What's being discussed here is not to change that policy, but simply to change the process in which the policy is being.
I understand that, but we're changing and I'm asking this. We've heard complaints, I've heard complaints, is I gotta give up 5 acres and I gotta put a 22-foot road in, I just can't do that. I'm not sure what's magic about, because multiple, we say 2 acres is fine. So we're saying 2 acres is good, unless you only got 1. And that's what I'm trying to get.
That would be a bigger policy
I agree.
shift than a minor policy shift. A minor policy shift is just clarifying the language and putting the approval process from this circular
No, I got you.
treadmill, that's a minor policy. I think basically eliminating the 5 acre lot, back lot, I think that's a bigger policy. But if that's what you wanna propose,
Thoughts? I'm just throwing it out there for.
I kind of like it the way it is, but I can, because previously we did have 5 acres for multiple back lots.
well, it was confusing.
Yeah, it was 2 and 5.
Well, it wasn't clearly.
Yeah, it wasn't clear,
It wasn't clear, so code officers, if they wanted to help they were sympathetic to the property owner, they'd interpret that this is a private road, you can do 2 acres. And it wasn't consistent. The current code officer has gotten a legal opinion, they should be 5 acres, but 2 code officers from now, they may go back to 2 acres.
They got with a single or multiple?
Multiple, 2,
So we have a legal opinion that the multiple should be 5 acres.
yes.
Unless we change it here.
Well, then why are we,
Because I don't think that was the intent.
well, I mean, yes and no, if we're doing all this work, we might wanna, I didn't know that we got a legal opinion that says it should be 5. That fits the single backlot of 5 acres.
Well, did they get that legal opinion because that was their interpretation?
No, because the road commissioner was saying one thing, the code officer was seeing something else, and the road commissioner, who has been the code officer in the past, has approved 2 acre lots on private ways. So it's hard for them to now say to somebody, oh, no, you can't have it, I did it for them, but I can't do it for you.
Well,
And it's because the language in the ordinance is.
well, that's, I guess, so what, if I'm trying to understand this, the lawyer looked at it and said, well, the language is confusing, go with 5. There's no legal basis that it has to be 5.
No, I think they said, that
Their
if you
opinion.
interpret that language, their opinion is it has to be 5 acres.
So what the way it exists today.
Well, then I would argue that let's do this, but change that multiple backlot to 5.
Why? I mean, again, if we're just gonna come out and say we don't want development, what's special about 5 acres?
Well,
We
so
have
it
subdivisions
matches,
with
because
2.
I think you're right, why would a single backlot be 5 and multiple 2?
I'm going the other way. I'm saying let's go with 2.
I know you are,
Part of the reason why you would go to 2 is because of the cost of building that road. You're gonna need more lots in order to justify the cost of it, make it cost effective. So that's one reason for having 2 acres, if you go with multiple lots. A single back lot, 5 acres, you've just got a driveway.
22 feet for multiple.
so that, I'm leaning towards too, because we've had families come in to subdivide, and the 5 acres does a lot of, sometimes they have it, sometimes it's a challenge. But it does then, to get 5 acres, so you got 5 acres, then you gotta go 5 acres, so now you've made the road longer to go 5 acres to make, and I'm just not sure that's a cost.
It drives up the costs dramatically.
And so I tend to lean towards 2 acres and we can, but I'm open to, it may or may not come up when we get into this.
And again, on any of these issues, if it just gets too sticky, punt it, and we'll treat it as a major policy issue in the future.
But should we consider the legal opinion? But if we make this change to 2 acres, then their legal opinion would be fine too? 'Cause
Oh, yeah,
Like it's
if you
changing
change
to
the language
2.
of the ordinance.
Right,
I think,
right.
yeah, what she's saying is the
Yeah.
stronger verbiage calls for 5, the weaker verbiage calls for 2. If you eliminate, very generic, but if you eliminate any reference to 5, or you clearly say 2, then there's not a legal.
Yeah.
But when we've ever looked at backlots, it's a family that wants to keep family close.
Yes,
And for making it cost effective for them, less expensive, is keeping it to the 2 acre.
Yeah.
So I would recommend staying with the 2 acre, and that would be my
and
justification
if they
for
wanna,
it.
that raised the question, do we, the driveway width also is an impactor on cost. So, and Chief's here, so maybe we'll ask him, not to put you on the spot, but it-
I was expecting it, sir.
yeah,
Oh, I know that there was, certainly over, close to where I live, there was a backlot. Is a backlot that is being, the driveway was put in and they thought that it was only supposed to be, I think it was 12 feet, but then now they had to expand it because of the existing ordinance being 20 feet. So that is quite an expense, an increase in expense for that
Yeah.
individual, for that, and it's a family.
and that's mostly what it's been since I've been here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
somebody wants to build a compound, I don't have your experience or Juliet's. So Chief, your thoughts on if it's one house, 16's good, if it's 3 houses, what are your thoughts about a 16-foot, before you answer, I will tell you that in the development business, because we're way ahead of schedule here, a town planner once told me, he said, I'm trying to convince on a cul-de-sac, on a lengthy cul-de-sac with a turnaround, he said, I'm trying to convince the fire department that fire trucks have reverse in their transmission. So, having said that, Chief, what are your thoughts?
So I can't come up with every scenario, right? I can only talk about driveways, so not a road, driveway.
Yep.
Currently, it's 20, we've talked about 16, which is really a compromise for the fire department and public safety. Because 16 in Maine in the winter is 12, right, with snow and banking and whatnot. I mean, I have to think of this stuff, right? So my trucks are 8 feet wide. Pumper trucks, ladder trucks are 8. So in the winter, when you have 12, I can't get 2 simultaneously to pass each other. When you have a water supply or a fire, you need trucks to pass each other or lay in a hose, if you will. Yes, all our trucks have reverse, but that being said,
I'm only joking.
first in, last out, right? I mean, they can lay a hose in and do what we can, whether that's a ladder or an engine, but 16 is a compromise for the fire department. And that's for safety. I may need to get an ambulance past a fire truck. When you set up the jack spread of our ladder truck, that is 16 feet. So if you were to set up a ladder truck, you can short jack it, if you will, to work off of one side. It doesn't have to be all 16. Ladders 8, 4 on each for the outriggers. So I'm already at a compromise in a nice summer day on an approved driveway at 16,
Okay,
right? It's a lot of information. We
Yeah.
have
No,
big
no,
trucks and we do need to get down and back, right? For the next emergency. So it's not only that one.
I
but we
appreciate
can-
that. So are you comfortable with 16 for a single lot?
Yes, we can manage 16 on whatever you come up with, but as far as driveways, we can manage a 16. I
Would
don't wanna.
would a 20, on a multiple lots, would a 20-foot drive work? That's an, a question.
For the fire department, more is more. So yes, on more houses, more lots, a 20 would work, because some people are exiting while we're going in, right? So there's that, you need, with more houses, there's more protection. However close they are, I mean, there's more aspects to it. Wildland fires that we found out this year, more resources, all of it. If that's what you deem necessary, I would take 20 on 3 lots, because it helps the fire department. Public safety.
Well, here's the thing.
22 is in the ordinance now, I wonder, was there a reason,
Actually, I think,
or is it
I
20?
think it should be 20,
Oh,
cause
So it's 20 now.
I think public is 22 from the old ordinance, which we're gonna change.
so I think that was your question, right?
Yeah,
22 versus
exactly.
20.
Can we live with 20?
It should be 20 for this.
It should be
not-
20?
not-
Can you live
Okay.
with 20?
Yes, sir.
Cause it's already 20. In the ordinance, it's already 20, so we're not changing that,
So we just,
it's
okay.
actually 20 and 20,
20, I'll change it to 20 and 20.
okay.
And you're good with that?
And again, that has 2-foot shoulders as well, so.
Okay. And thank you for being here, by the way, Chief. Okay, any other questions on this? We just cover one?
Do you have any comments from the road commissioner or CEO on this?
I have provided the text, I just finished these today, so and I did give them to the code officer, so.
Okay. So obviously, good question, their opinions are very valid.
Key.
Okay, any
And
other?
we did work as a staff, and I went over this with them before we did this.
Okay, I appreciate that.
What were you gonna say?
I do have a question for George. Were we gonna take the onus off the fire chief to sign off on that driveway and just take the road commissioner's signature? Can we talk about
Can
that?
change that.
So I did talk about it.
Oh,
I'm not trained to look at culverts, to look at, I can measure, but to look at pitch,
Can I clarify?
Sure.
That's not the purpose of this. Purpose of this is to say,
the width.
you can have, your fire truck can get access.
Yes.
That's all this is about.
But I
Yeah.
guess as long
But
as
the
we're,
signature,
talking,
Yeah.
we do somewhere talk about
the fire chief's
the
signature.
private roads. and-
Right, but that's just the fire chief written approval for the fire chief that the building is accessible to the emergency equipment, period. You're not reviewing engineering, culverts or anything else.
Are you good with it? Because isn't there somewhere in here that's all running together where your recommendation is the planning board approve all private roads?
That's different. We're talking about a single backlot access.
No, I understand what we're talking about here, but what Chief's saying is I don't wanna approve engineering plans.
No, he's saying, and the only thing that says in there, the fire chief approval is on a single backlot access.
Okay,
The driveway, make sure that 16-foot wide driveway isn't going up a steep grade or something to the point
Okay.
where it's too narrow for him to get in there. If it is, he can say no on it.
you're good with that?
Yes.
Okay, any other questions about this? Okay,
we don't need to vote on this,
we don't.
right? No,
No, this is just
review,
processing.
yeah.
But what I'd like to do next, George,
One down,
is
one more to go?
do fire protection and cisterns, since Chief's here.
Oh, sure, yeah.
That way we can get rid of
Ooh,
it.
I got a comment on that one.
Okay, so she has a comment, so if we can,
It's not a very big comment at all. Just a little typo, I think.
This is a simpler one. The fire chief is uncomfortable with water cisterns.
Oh, it is, it took out my typo,
He did?
I think so.
well, the typo's probably the other thing. But it was-
Well, no, isn't this,
This was-
this is all that we're, like, this is what we're submitting,
Thank you.
right?
No, this is just a
The summary for
summary.
the
Oh, this is just a summary.
So if you see on the bottom, it
The
says
TLDR.
what we want to hear from you, it's intended for the, get the public
Yeah,
there, to comment on that. So this one, George, if you wanna
Okay, so
discuss it.
summary, right now, in the
Alright.
ordinance, any subdivision that's approved under state law as well as local ordinance, they have to have a water supply for fire protection purposes. Durham's current standards allow a developer with 3 options. First option is typically an underground cistern, 30,000 gallons is typical. And then the second option is to have, and they have to have a certain volume of capacity for, 30 is the base, and then I think it's 2 per house beyond that or something. Then, they can put in a fire pond with, 280,000 gallons freeboard. And then they can reduce the water volume of either of those with, fire chief approval of sprinklers. There's been a discussion in the past whether eliminating the pond completely is a reduction or an elimination, and I think where we came out was saying, no, you can't just do sprinklers. That was done in the past, but that's where we are right now. So the chief contacted me as part of our staff process and indicated that they're really not satisfied with underground cisterns because they've had very poor performance. In his memo, I think I circulated that to you, leakage, cracking from frost. And then filling 30,000 gallons capacity in the beginning is a challenge. And then whenever they have a fire and drain it, then they've got to refill it. So for all those reasons, the fire chief has asked that that be eliminated.
Okay, so the proposal, there's no cisterns allowed.
Correct.
Then I will ask, can we eliminate, can we make it an either or? So dry pond, stream, dry pond, so fire ponds, dry hydrant, or resident sprinklers, not a combination thereof. And are you comfortable with just sprinklers? In lieu of the combination, reducing the fire pond?
Yes, we could manage that if that's what you all deem.
Well, I guess I'm asking, what do you want?
Well, but prior to my arrival, one development, and I've been here 4 years now, more than that. One development was started, so I didn't sign off on it. They went with sprinklers, as an example. They went with sprinklers, and they're continuing, and they weren't required to do a fire pond, also known as a dry hydrant. Recently, and down the road from them, within a mile or so, was an existing dry hydrant. So for us, we could easily shuttle water within a mile's distance on a development that already had sprinklers. We know as the fire department, sprinklers will keep most fires in check, 90% of them are extinguished with one head, that type of stuff. So we're a big proponent of sprinklers. I could easily enjoy not having the dual requirement of sprinklers and a fire pond that's reduced. If somebody wanted to put sprinklers, and just so you know, I've talked to several recently large developers in town that are currently developing. Personal, phone calls on sprinklers and how they feel. So I'm sure you'll take public comment, but I have reached out, not just my opinion for fire protection. Everyone gets a chance to, air their side, if you will. I could enjoy, yes, just signing off on sprinklers for residential.
Sprinklers alone.
Sprinklers alone.
So we should change the and to an or.
Well, that's, chief's okay with it, I'm good, and I'm okay with it, but the other 4 thoughts on,
I'm thinking it should be or,
okay. So residential sprinklers alone would be sufficient.
because there's gonna be a $10,000 and $15,000 increase to the building cost, I would think.
Yes, reduction in insurance, but upfront cost, yes, 10 to 15,000, exactly what I'm told, on a residential.
Right.
Now, there's other things on the backside. I'm actually working with the state fire marshal. They're under a 30-day for those, so it's not a prolonged period of application or waiting for permits. Once they pull a permit at the state level on the site, they can start that process. And then our codes officer is comfortable with going in and inspecting those projects. I don't even have to inspect them. The codes, Alan does.
Is there any ongoing inspection requirement for sprinkler systems? I know in like commercial buildings, they'll come in on a yearly basis to make sure the sprinklers work.
Correct, so no, not for residential, so it is a homeowner's responsibility to either have upkeep, and we're not even talking about everything, so they have pumps, right, jockey pumps in order to do it. Currently, the code doesn't even tell them that they have to have a backup power to the jockey pump, because if they lost power and no generator, then their sprinkler system wouldn't work.
And when you
But
say
again,
no,
that's a state code
Yeah, you're talking about building code or fire
Yeah,
code.
yeah.
Other thoughts on,
So you would be okay with just a fire pond or just a dry hydrant, not a sprinkler?
Not the combination of the two.
Like we're saying, if we say or,
Right.
this is either a fire pond or a dry hydrant or sprinklers.
So let me educate. First, we're talking about eliminating at least the cistern option.
Yes, that's
Yes,
on.
that's-
So that was one.
That's on.
So fire pond, also known as dry hydrant.
So
So-
that's what I was wondering, they're the same thing.
So a dry hydrant, it probably not, is not, it's the fire technical term. That's the pipe that comes out of the ground
Yes,
to feed us. We can pull a draft, we can pull that water out. That's a dry hydrant, usually a PVC. Special series of the PVC, not just regular plumbing. Also, so that's a dry hydrant connected to a fire pond.
so we're saying, then what you're telling me is the fire pond and dry hydrant are like the same,
Well, yes and no, because there's a dry hydrant, can also be put on a brook.
or
Exactly,
yes.
Which we do have.
But the way we say this, we say fire ponds, dry hydrant on an existing pond or stream, and residential sprinklers, so
Yeah, I
that's
think that
three
is-
things,
They
right?
developed the fire pond, it's a net new, obviously.
So it would be
water.
fire, dry hydrant on an existing
Existing.
pond or stream, take
So-
out the fire pond.
well, no,
That.
because the word existing. So if you're putting in a development, one of your options is to go to an existing pond or a stream that the chief says is close enough and put in a dry hydrant.
Oh.
So you,
So you're saying there's already one existing,
an
or we
existing
put a
stream,
new
but
one
not,
in?
yeah, or
Okay,
not,
okay.
so if there was a fire pond or a pond, like my house, there's a pond but no dry hydrant. So if I wanted to put in a development, I could, this would allow me to go to that existing pond, assuming it meets all the requirements, and put in a dry hydrant.
Understood,
So I think what we need the language is a somehow new pond with a dry hydrant, or you can go to an old pond, stream, existing one and put one in, or you can use residential sprinkler.
but you're good with or on all those, okay.
And just know, we have tasked recently with a hydraulic calculation from a hydrologist that we determined needed to be done at the developer's cost, and they're talking about average rainfall, average evaporation, runoff, all that.
That was
So-
Deer Creek, right? Didn't we?
It was Deer Creek, it is Deer Creek,
Yeah, I
and they
think that's
certainly
important.
did all that, and came up with a fantastic fire pond connected with a dry hydrant, yep, very pleased with their progress.
Good.
Just for my curiosity, has that held up during this drought?
It has, I actually just took pictures recently.
How deep is that?
I don't know the depth because,
But there is.
because of the odd shape of it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, not really a swimming pool exact, it's sort of a bowl.
Mhm.
But hydrologists signed off on minimum, I think the minimum was 130,000 gallons, something like that off the top of my head, plus 10 to 30 per household type of thing. Like I said, I took pictures, in the freeboard, water level was down 2-3 feet just last week, but it was still holding 100,000 gallons. And for us,
Wow.
we can do the water calculations of a single house on fire, type of thing. I think he's putting in, what, 13 in there?
13, I think.
Yeah.
13.
Right now.
So, yeah, we calculated fire flow on his biggest house.
So does that have a dry hydrant on
It does, yes.
Okay.
Yep,
And
that's
so,
been certified by the fire department, we pumped it, tested it, talked to the developer about that he's added protection, so snowplow can't
it? Right.
damage it.
So just be aware, unless there's an existing pond, you're not gonna get any more fire ponds if you do that.
would do what?
Yeah, I'm
If you
fine with
allow, if you allow sprinklers, because the developer doesn't have to pay for it.
That's what I'm saying, is like,
sells
I
the
wanna make
lawn.
sure we're okay with
He or
this
she
because
sells
this
the
could be
lawn.
quite a change.
You will not get any more fire ponds if you do
So we did talk about that aspect, that a fire pond was put in on that development, it's just as an example, right, Deer Creek Crossing. Which actually protects the neighboring communities, it protects Hallowell. That would be the closest to a good, we have one here, but if you head down Hallowell, it would protect it. There is one on Patriot Way, but, so the give and take is, that George talks about, is requiring others in other parts of town, it might protect the surrounding
Hmm.
establishments.
Then
I
why change it?
Well, I guess my thought is, yes, I don't agree with you 100%, George. And the reason I say that is a developer's gotta be able to sell that lot. So if a builder doesn't want sprinklers, he's gotta find a builder who will put an extra $10,000-$15,000 into sprinklers if he has no fire pond. And so people will still, Bowie Hill is a perfect example. There's no fire pond, it's all sprinklers. There's some others. So I'm not sure that we are saying, you know, developer, you're not gonna get a builder to do that. There is an argument, you're talking about a regional use for a fire pond, which means that we're asking that new developer to cover the sins of his predecessors, is how I look at it. Because what you're saying is that because there's no other fire ponds along Hallowell, Deer Creek or whomever, you've got to do that. So I like the idea
You
of
could,
giving them an
you
option.
could do
I
a
do,
combination of saying, sprinklers if there is a existing fire pond within a mile.
Why? You're saying, maybe I misunderstood it. You can do a sprinkler if there's an
Okay, so
existing,
you're discussing the policy of just not requiring fire ponds, just allowing.
in a new development.
Allowing sprinklers
Yeah.
in developments. So, as I said, my sense is because the developer will not have to pay for a fire pond at $150,000, whatever it's gonna be. They won't have to pay for anything for fire protection, it'll be all on the people who build the houses. That's gonna push this all the way, almost all the way to no fire ponds being built.
It'll be well, two things. Developers never do something for free. So the Deer Creek developer and builder are the same
That's
guy.
who has to pay for it.
The builder.
Gonna pay
The
for
builder's gonna come in and pay for the sprinkler.
it. Exactly. which
And
is
so the
why-
pond will be cheap. But why is that an issue?
It's gonna be paid for either way.
Yeah, it's getting, okay, the developer will sell the lot cheaper supposedly to the builder, but the builder's got an added house cost. So the builder says, what does my lot cost me? And the owner says, roads, fire pond, whatever it may be, land cost, but there's no fire pond. So the builder says, well, I gotta now add $10,000 or $15,000 to the house. So he's going to build it. Yeah, you're right, I don't know if I'm a developer that I'm gonna go through the hydrologic study and do all those other kinds of things. But those houses still have fire protection, cause the builder's going to do it. And if they refuse to do it, then the builder can't sell the lots and they'll go dig a hole somewhere to do that.
As long as we're okay, you're okay with like, a house is completely the same protection with sprinklers or with a pond, then that, for me, that's enough, I guess.
Yeah,
If there was, there's got to be benefit, I think, for having both,
Of course it is.
but like you're saying that you, the fire chief, you're okay with one or the other.
Yes.
okay.
Without, you asked the fire chief, so it's not about the economics, it's not about the builder,
Which is great,
developer.
which is what it should be.
If I can protect a brand new house that is very expensive now in Durham and larger, right, we're not building 1,000, square foot houses anymore. With a sprinkler, that helps us, it keeps the fire in check, it really helps.
Even if there's no backup power for the pump, like you stated, you'd be okay with that?
Cause that's the building code, later on down the line, sort of out of my hands, out of Durham's hands, really.
It's all a matter of probability.
Right,
Yeah.
So I'm good
Yeah.
with the either or, one of those three options. So I guess a new fire pond with the dry hydrant, go down the road to an existing one that chief says is close enough, which I think you get a say in all this, right? I mean,
I have, there is leeway,
yeah, I
even
mean,
though you're trying to make it black and white, there is leeway.
what I'm saying is that if I wanna put it in development, I say, there's a pond, just down the road. As a fire chief, you can say, yeah, but that's too far away, or I can't get to that, or whatever it may be.
Yes,
Oh, I
and I do need that leeway because we're very intimate. I'll give you an example. Brianna Drive has a dry hydrant fire pond that dries up. In August, certainly in drought conditions, before my time,
Yeah,
it wasn't built deep enough, it's on bedrock, it dries up.
Yeah.
So somebody could say, a developer in that area, oh, well, there's one on Brianna Drive, I'm all set. The fire chief does have to have that leeway of saying, well, that one doesn't count. I know it's a dry hydrant, but it dries up. And this drought is very significant. And we've lost dry hydrants. So there's one on Swamp Road, but a couple of storms ago, the intake was covered with feet and feet of sand, after we had some of those 5-inch storms. Which makes it difficult, because to go in there in an excavator, you need DEP, right? I mean, there's more to it. So.
John,
Good.
sorry, you're not, are we saying that a subdivision can be built without a fire pond and just say there's a fire pond, like,
That's the way this is
half a
written.
mile?
Well, yes, that's what this says, if I read this correctly. So a fire pond, which I take as a new one, we may have changed that, or a dry hydrant on an existing pond or stream.
Now that, it doesn't say it there, because it's just a summary, but that's indicating it's on the property,
Yeah, that's
not
what I
on
thought
the
too.
way.
Oh, okay, so it's not,
So they are
Just
going to
engineering
need
a
one,
new fire pond.
if they go the pond route, they need one on their property.
something on their, if
It's
I,
okay if it's already there,
Yeah.
right? If it's not, they need,
No,
it
Deer
can't be,
Creek had a stream running right through the middle of it.
right, so they use that.
and they don't
There's a
want,
deep hole there.
Yeah, but I guess we're not gonna say, they can't say, oh, I wanna use that one half a mile away, we're not saying that.
okay, I misread that then. So yes, so those are, you either have access to one,
We'll write it up for, they can do any of the three.
Yep.
Just one, and see what the public says.
I agree with that.
Can we confirm that the storage capacity is 120,000 gallons, is that correct?
That's a start, yes.
Yes.
Well, it kind of depends on the number of houses, or what decides it,
Well, development, so 3 houses, starts at 120,000.
so 13 might be bigger.
For fire pond, I think it's 100 and,
That's why I asked, because I think you said something different, George, but
Yeah,
in
I think
here it
so.
says 120.
I thought it was 120 to
It says
start.
more and more, but it's kind of vague, like,
Well, more,
I know what more means, but
I think that's a start, and then it was per house, I think it was 10,000.
well, for cisterns, that is the case, but I
No,
think.
water storage capacity says fire ponds shall have a capacity of 120,000 gallons or more.
Yes.
Or more, okay.
Yeah, so it starts at 120.
But that's the
120, that's the base.
That's minimum for 13,
Nope, that was the minimum for 3, a development.
does it say that in here?
Okay, let me look at the language.
Do we say that?
No, I don't think we have to.
Boy, you're testing me.
That's chief, well, chief went out and, well, actually, I remember somebody designed it, that was our engineer or somebody. I do think we should have a caveat that says, as, with approval of review by the fire chief, so that we know
Okay,
that.
so here's the language, you see how you interpret it. Water storage capacity for underground storage tanks, a minimum storage capacity of 10,000 gallons shall be provided for a subdivision.
That's a cistern, underground.
Yes, additional storage of 2,000 gallons per lot or principal building shall be provided, period.
Crossed out. We
No,
crossed that out.
But what's in there now? We're
Yeah,
trying to,
yeah,
we're just
yeah.
trying to establish,
Yeah,
okay?
Yeah.
Then there's a new sentence, fire pond shall have a capacity of 120,000 gallons or more.
Yeah.
I don't interpret that to say that you have, that's the base and then you add 2,000 or,
Yeah, I don't either.
that only applies to
This
cisterns.
is just saying 120.
Yeah, 120 or more, so
Or
if they've
more.
got 130, that's good, if they got 120,
But I
that's
guess what I'm saying is it doesn't, anywhere in here, they can have 13 lots with 120.
good. Correct,
They can have 4 at 120.
that's how I
maybe
interpret it.
100.
Right. Yeah.
I guess the assumption you only burn it down one at a time.
Unless you get some wildfire situation, yeah.
But
Yeah,
the
so-
cistern is 10,000
Yeah.
and then 2,000.
Yeah, and that goes away,
But
yeah,
that's
I got
gone.
you, just,
Yeah.
Okay, I
So-
just wanted to confirm that.
I'm good with this, I think if there's a way to, somewhere in this that, with the approval of the fire chief or whatever it may be, if they, and I guess is that necessary, chief? If they come in and show you a design, like Deer Creek did, they came up with a good design that's obviously working. You approve that, right? Do you want to approve that? Do you want to approve that it's residential? Seem to me if it's residential sprinklers, I don't know if your approval is required.
No, and I don't see it. So on a residential sprinkler, I don't see a permit and the town doesn't get a fee for that. I don't review it and there's no fee for that. The codes officer of the town, currently Alan, but the codes officer reviews it, and that's at the state level as far as them pulling the permit
For a house.
for a house sprinkler, residential sprinkler, just sprinkler.
So it's being, there is an approval.
There is an established procedural currently for sprinklers.
I did just have one quick typo, under water storage capacity, the first word for,
Is this in the
sorry, it's in the ordinance, the
Yeah, the
language
draft
itself.
amendments?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think we need to remove that first word.
Can we, on the typos, can we just tie those up and send them to George in an email?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
got
just easier to just, yeah. It's just-
Okay.
I don't have many typos, I don't have too many.
Yeah, no,
Just that first word for, under number 3, two,
where are we?
number 2, under
Section
sufficient water
2,
standards.
your strike note starts with the word underground, not the word core.
Okay,
There's always an English teacher. While I'm here, I'd love to
as long as you're here, chief.
continue, so I appreciate the cistern, the removal
Okay,
of the cistern, it just doesn't work for the fire department or the homeowner, really, it just doesn't. So then it's up to you, can we do sprinkler, can we do fire retention, fire pond, the dry hydrant? Well, we can certainly work with all.
okay. That's good and very helpful, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Is there anything else that we'd like to give chief that on any of these other things that are chief?
I will give you, it's 3 to 3 at the bottom of the 6th,
Oh, I was gonna.
if anyone's,
What'd you say?
3 to 3, bottom of the 6th. If you know,
Oh,
you
you
know.
were also, yeah, you
How
wanna
many
get out of
hours?
here, you wanna get out of here.
No,
Getting back to development.
this is important.
Yeah, and the chief brought this up, regarding the insurance, right? Like, yes, the cost is gonna be conveyed over to the builder or the homeowner, whoever buys the property, but I think there's something to consider regarding insurance costs that may benefit the homeowner with a sprinkler system as opposed to a fire.
I would agree.
Over the lifetime of the house, it'll pay for it.
Sure, and my second comment is about maintenance. So if a fire pond is part of a development, who's required to make sure that
HOA, I think we've been making.
what if, we have one here on Route 9 that's part of the sawmill,
Yes,
it's not a HOA.
Maine Woodlands.
Right, so the chief pointed out earlier that he went out and he looked at one in particular, but is it the chief's job to go out and look at all of these fire ponds to make sure that they're holding water? Number one, number two, who is responsible to make sure that those water levels are sustained?
Chief, I would bet the code enforcement at best if he knows about them, but do you go out and do annual inspections, driveway?
So the fire department does, currently we have roughly 25 dry hydrants in town across the 39 square miles. We do try to touch every one of them every year, and fix what we can as a fire department. In the past, you'll have to know, there was a line item in the fire department to sort of replace some of them with public works. I think sometimes that if they're close to a driveway or road, we'll find in the spring that we can't pull a draft, we can't suck that water because the pipe's been cracked. So any air leakage, we can't do it. So it comes very difficult, like again, Swamp Road, we just can't go in there because it's on the stream, and fix it. Sometimes on private property, which you allude to, HOAs, it's up to them. So I'm currently dealing with several HOAs in town to try to get them to fix it, dredge over years, 5 to 10 years. Natural leaves, sedimentation, all that will start to fill it in. Sometimes they can have erosion. And then the other problem, George knows this, one HOA in town, I believe it's like Eagle Point Road, it is defunct. So there used to be a dry hydrant at the end of, I believe, Eagle Point, down towards the river. That is definitely cracked, out of service, and there's no HOA that's recognized for us to go after the fix.
So what are the repercussions? I'm not sure who to ask these questions to.
Well,
I'm trying to do this the right way,
It's the
but-
enforcement.
It's an old development.
yes, inherited. So the discussion we've had, I'll speak for George, is when you establish an HOA, George definitely has in the writing, communication of it, that the HOA will be responsible for the fire pond and associated costs, dry hydrant and whatnot. And then for enforcement, the town legally could go after the HOA for enforcement or cost. Like if the town fixed it, thus the fire department, we could bill them.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Sounded
Yes.
like you're having some issues currently with
Yes.
some. Okay.
Inherited ones, nothing that in the last 4 years that we've done new, but inherited ones.
Sounds like the verbiage wasn't included in the HOA.
It might not have
Or they
been,
don't
or
exist.
it was defunct, yes.
So that, I
I'm
think,
going to go totally off base here, I think, but.
you
so
have,
if I-
thank you.
Yeah.
So if I'm in a house next to a defunct fire hydrant, fire pond, and my insurance company thinks that I'm within so many feet of this operating fire pond, and my house catches on fire, and these guys can't put it out because there's no water there.
Your insurance rate just went up.
Yeah.
Well, all right, might deny the claim, that's.
Well, I mean, I think it's a lot of, if it's, and a challenge the town has with enforcement, it's like somebody just decides to throw a whole bunch of junk cars in their yard, or they're doing other things. The town then you can enforce things over time and painfully. I mean,
Yeah, no, we're talking about junk cars, we're talking right now about.
a fire, but I mean, it's the same
Fire.
enforcement thing. I think the town, I guess the question is, and we probably do need to move on, is the homeowner needs to tell the town that I have a problem, or go to their homeowners association and say, just like roads going bad, we've gotta fix this.
Okay, so then the chief, CEO, road commissioner sees this issue, they approach the property owner or whoever's responsible, and they don't react quickly, what,
Yeah, there's gotta be a clock on it. If after some amount of time, the town fixes it and bills you, and too bad. You didn't do your.
That sound fair? I mean, the town has some authority, but it isn't the frame that you're looking at, I think. It's probably a very slow process, like Eagle Point is probably gonna drag on for quite a while.
It won't be.
That could, the ones we can fix, we can fix.
when you say
Right.
fix, you mean fix the pipe that's broken.
Yes.
You're not talking about filling in the,
Not filling in, and again, I give you the history that was given to me because it does matter, right? Because it's past practice. They were dredging, so they would dredge 1 or 2 ponds a year.
The town was.
The town, at town cost.
Well, I mean, to what George pointed out before, these things are benefiting, these ponds are benefiting.
Town-wide, it takes a village. so-
Exactly, so it's, even though it is a subdivision's fire pond,
Correct.
you are.
Well, I think that's getting well above our pay grade. Now you're talking
Yeah, for
about
sure,
budget
yeah.
committee and the select board and
But I
everybody
can
else.
understand why the fire department was
The lead.
maintaining those
Yeah.
in some situations.
And it was appreciated, but I think we need to kind of move on,
Can we
because,
bring it back, please?
what's that?
Can we bring it back?
What?
I just wanted to
To the
bring up the
subject.
point of maintenance, that's all.
Mr.
Oh,
Chair.
what the hell, the Cubs lost ours, so I'm good. I mean, if we wanna continue the discussion, I'm just not sure there's anything we can do as a plan, I say that as a planning board.
We got 3 more topics?
I was wondering, is there anything regarding campgrounds that we need the fire chief
Well, let's-
for?
Oh, yeah, are there any other topics, as long as chief is here and kind of giving us his time, is there something that, you've looked at campgrounds and trailer parks and all that kind of stuff, is it, you and George and Calvin have been working on this?
Yes, I believe there was last year, a request for an expansion, the leisure center.
All we're proposing now is to get the duplicated process of town planning board looks at it from a site plan review with no standards to go by. State does a complete review of engineering. We're not gonna duplicate what the state does. That's the only.
Well, I think campgrounds is one, but I guess I would ask George and Calvin and Alan, and maybe they're doing this, to go, we've got a whole bunch of things we're working on.
Yeah, I have.
George is on.
Okay, you've been working on those, okay, and you're getting feedback.
Yep.
I think that was your question.
That was my, yeah, just so, cause you could go if you want, or. I
I
guess I was trying to,
will. Just know, George sat all department heads down, and we were in there for hours, in our own respective lanes, going over whatever changes, proposals, all of it. And we were given our opportunity.
Excellent, I appreciate you all working together, so now would you please leave?
Thank you.
You'll enjoy the game.
Thanks, chief, I really do appreciate it, I know you.
No, look, I appreciate the time and the opportunity.
Get the reverse fixed, would you?
I will work on it.
There we go. And probably more money, right, to buy a new fire truck with reverse? Okay, I'm sorry, what's next?
Subdivision road buffers, we talked about this, and basically right now you have to put a 50-foot buffer between the subdivision and the existing road. You don't have to put any buffer between the new subdivision road and the neighbors. And we discussed this and you ended up asking for discretionary authority rather than automatic.
Yep.
So that's all
That
that.
tracks.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay, next one is noise standards. This one's a little bit more complicated. So currently, you have basically a residential standard for across the board. And this town has a lot of mixed uses of small businesses, light manufacturing, agriculture, which generates higher noise levels than typical
I don't
residences.
think I need one, George,
I'm
but
sorry.
here, I'll get back to you when I'm done. I've got it here, but.
So what this, and the other issue with noise is that it's one of those areas where you have to have a qualified expert to do a study. It's kind of like a hydrology of a fire pond. So you can't just have someone out there with their phone saying, oh, it's this many decibels. You have to do a thorough study under certain conditions. So for example, this specifies that there can't be any rain falling, because that rain is gonna make noise, that's gonna skew the results. So this specifies 3 classes, and it changes slightly the daytime, nighttime timeframe. So this again walks down through what are the changes. So it deals with the daytime, nighttime hours, the sound pressure limits, differentiating between residential, agricultural, and commercial. Measurement method is more specific. This includes a impulsive or intermittent, and the town attorney suggested the number 75 decibels. For just periodic noises, construction time, noise generation, because somebody can be out there setting up on the job site, not making noise. But running power equipment and everything else can't start until 7 AM instead of 6:30 it is now. Noise studies, again, when would a noise study, a formal noise study with an expert be required? If the town is going to take somebody to court, or if there's conditional use review and you identify noise as an issue, like the sawmill, then you can require and you should require a qualified acoustical study. In that case, all you did was they said, oh, the machine generates 75 decibels. No, there was no technical review of that to determine whether that's accurate or not. So in the future, this will give much more specificity. And then this includes suggested mitigation measures, and then it just expands the exemptions. So that's.
I have 2 comments,
summary. Yeah.
George.
Mhm.
One is, who decided, for not a conditional use,
Yeah,
who decides what is the criteria for deciding that,
on whether to do a sound study or
whether
not.
to do the sound study, and then I guess
Yeah.
that,
You would not require the folks that were in here earlier tonight to do a sound study with a qualified expert. But the sawmill, anytime that it's an issue, where you're saying, we feel like we need to limit the property rights here in terms of what they propose to do because of the sound impacts it's going to have. So if you're going to put limits on a property owner of their property rights, you should back that with scientific evidence.
and who pays?
They will pay for it.
Okay, they.
Yeah.
Okay, my other comment, it's not really a question, is I am concerned about exemptions. I don't know if we have a special event permit, and I definitely don't think we need to think very carefully about fireworks. So like my neighbor, a couple houses down, does a huge 4th of July fireworks, which is extremely well attended by it's the only thing that's going on in the town. There is no permit for that, so I don't wanna add how do we say, if you wanna, and his neighbor, the other side of him shoots fireworks, or somebody's, one of those wedding venues wants to fire fireworks or I guess my concern is I don't think we have a permit at the town now, and I don't wanna impinge on, fireworks. Because I think we follow the state law. I mean, this came up when I was at a town, some select board meeting, and they basically said, we follow the town, which has hours and some other stuff. So I don't wanna, I guess that's my comment, is I don't want somebody come in and say, oh, this guy's gonna have a fireworks on the 4th of July, where's his permit? I don't want
Okay, so
this.
let me clarify, this does not say you have to give a permit. This says you are exempt from these noise regulations if you have a permit. So to do fireworks, if they have a special permit, if they have a conditional use approval to do a farm fair, for example, at Wapanova, and they wanna do fireworks, they're exempt. So to claim the exemption, this doesn't say you have to do it, you have to have a permit. It just says to claim the exemption from the noise regulations, you have to have, one of the ways you get that is by having a permit.
Yeah, but if you don't do that, I mean, forget emergency vehicle, the last bottom. So special events with town approval and temporary activities with special permits. So to me, if I wanna be a pain in the butt on this, I'm gonna say, you're having a special event, cause there's a band, there's fireworks, there's couple hundred people there. Somebody could do, and I know some of my neighbors who would do this, and that's a special event, he doesn't have a permit, shut him down.
But they wouldn't be shut down because of the noise regulation. They'd be shut down because they don't have a permit. If a permit is
Well,
required,
the biggest,
currently it's not.
the biggest challenge is that what people don't like fireworks is because of the noise. And I understand, they have horses, they have dogs, they have babies, so that's why they fight. When they fight fireworks, they fight fireworks. I don't think that's clear here, I think.
Okay, let's look at it from a different angle. If you took away the exemptions, they're gonna be subject, right, to these noise regulations?
I'm asking to exempt fireworks somehow,
Okay,
displays.
yeah.
To just say follow yeah, I get you, if somebody's having, I don't know what it may be, a wedding or whatever a special event would be, they have to, and first, then we need to find out, does the town have a special permit? I'm not sure they do, I've never seen one come up on the TV for select board. So is there such a thing as this, these permits that I'm talking about? But I definitely don't want fireworks being required to get a permit.
At least for noise, I think this is where it's saving us, this is just for noise.
I understand that, but it's.
No, I'm with you, because I think that perhaps even for fire, perhaps fireworks could be.
I mean, right now, they don't have to. And what my concern is, we're now going to apply noise standards to them. It's not people park for a mile on Stackpole Road, and I can sit in my yard and watch it, but that's my concern, and using because that's what annoys people, is the noise. It's not the color, it's the noise.
But there is a state law for fireworks,
Yes,
so we have to abide by the
I
state
agree
law.
100%.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying, is that already exists. I don't want somebody to come in and say, that fireworks display is a special event.
And the person arguing that, it's 4th of July, and the state requirements are, I think it's 4th of July and it's New Year's and all that. They're following that requirement of the state law.
As long as that overrules this comments, because there will be people who will take this and say that's my concern, and I guarantee you, there are people who are mad enough about fireworks, and that fireworks in display,
I know.
For technicality.
who will find it, when we look for a
And
loophole.
again, right now, they can do that on the ordinance, because there is no exemption right now.
Right, and they've been doing it for years.
It's just getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
But if you want to add a specific exemption
I don't
for
know if we
fireworks,
should because of what Alan just said, there is a state thing that we don't know. Like, we should look in, maybe our legal person can
We've
provide.
already, the fireworks has come up, and I know,
Yeah.
I've been to select board meetings about this in the past. And because there is a state fireworks requirement, they basically, selectmen adopted that, and we're not gonna have one within the town.
Yeah, and I just wanna make sure that there's not a loophole or somebody can say,
They would have to go to the state and challenge the state,
would they? Cause the town
because we don't have anything.
no, but we did, my thought, one concern is we do if we do this.
Well, should we add in the exemptions and superseding exemptions from state level or something like that?
I
There
just,
could be others besides.
I mean, I just think that's, I don't think we need to spend attorney money on it, but that is a concern I've got, is that people, every year they go to the select board to complain about fireworks and what are you gonna do about it? And the select board says, well, we follow this rule, but I don't want somebody to say, well, you know, that party with a couple hundred people in a band and fireworks is a special activity.
I know.
I mean, I look forward to it,
perhaps
it's
somebody
special
could
to
make
me.
a motion, somebody could make a motion to add fireworks to
I
the
don't-
exemption.
I don't think that's a smart idea.
No, you can vote against it.
Okay, I just don't think we should do that just out of the whim. Like, I agree if it's an issue, we do, but somebody's looking at this and before we decide to do that.
We can do that as we move toward the public, and it'd be good to take public comment.
Yeah, I will make a motion that somewhere in here, that fireworks are exempt as long as they follow the state law,
I don't
state.
think we're making motions on any of
What's
this.
that?
I don't think we're
Yeah,
making
we're not
motions
voting. Oh,
on
we're
any
not.
of these.
We're not
Well, I'm
voting.
just
Okay,
trying to,
comments.
I'm trying to.
Well, what trips a permit for fireworks?
I don't know, that's what I'm saying, like, we don't know, we don't know.
Well, there's nothing now,
I would think there'd be biosuppression,
Probably
if
to
anything
do
else.
yeah, but there's no permit for fireworks.
probably to do a professional display, you would have to.
He's not doing this professional.
No, I know, what I'm just saying, you're asking when a permit would be required, probably Portland fireworks or something like that would need to get safe.
Well, in Portland, maybe, yeah, so I think there's people out there, and I'm not, I guess I'm not criticizing to an extent, but I understand their concerns. But, you know, there are people who come every year and say, we gotta ban fireworks, we shouldn't have fireworks, or they should be limited to 3 in the afternoon or whatever. And I would like to make sure that this doesn't somehow mean that the town has to create a permit for fireworks.
So it says that a permit from the Commissioner of Public Safety is required for fireworks displays in Maine.
Is that the state law?
This is AI, but again, like, I don't know, I'd wanna look into this further, this would have been a great question for the fire chief. But I don't wanna add this if we don't need to, like, I think it's silly, I would be okay with like potentially adding it if we find out we need to add it, but I don't wanna add this.
Well, we won't find out till we need it, till somebody is,
No, what I'm saying is if this covers it already,
Yeah.
if they do need a permit,
they don't, I don't think that the town is, if they do,
they don't
the
need one
town's-
from the town, no, this is a state permit, and the Commissioner of Public Safety is required for all fireworks displays.
Yeah, I guess it would depend on how you define it.
Yes, the fireworks displays, exactly,
It's a huge, it's
right,
You know, like
right.
Portland.
expanding every year,
Yeah.
from what I understand.
Well, but hey, you know, I will be very upset if I can't watch fireworks. And I will come hunting you people that,
I'm hunting
and I
now.
guarantee you, there are people
I'm
who
not
will,
gonna prohibit you from watching fireworks.
you come up and sit in my patio.
Come to the planning.
The rest of them can't, cause they don't want fireworks.
The patios don't have big.
Okay,
I mean,
moving on.
this could be a simple question to the chief,
Then-
right, and then see what he said.
And I think it's up for public comment also.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And if somebody thinks
Get the
that.
right public to come.
I will go to the easy
No,
one.
this-
Wait, George, one more thing with noise.
The state requires a state permit, and somebody should say it requires a state permit, and let the owner or the
Yeah,
displayer or displayee
get that
get
permit.
the permit.
So one more thing about
Yeah,
noise is we talked a bit ago about increasing the dBs.
Yeah.
The decibels, and I can't recall why. So this is what that's doing, right? That's the
Yes,
thing,
it
is
is.
increasing decibels.
For agricultural and commercial and intermittent.
Yeah, it was 55.
And now we're up to,
75.
Well, 75 is just for like an intermittent thing, that was the town attorney's number.
did we all decide, or discuss that and agree to that increase? Like,
That's
is
why,
everyone
that's what
good?
we're talking about tonight, so, does anybody have any questions on it? I don't think we ever,
I remember talking about it,
there was a discussion about the attorney was, like George said, 75. I guess I'm good, if that's what we wanna,
Well, I remember that the proposed BES development said that they could not meet our
yes.
ED levels, and they suggested, I
Yes.
feel like that's where it came from.
I think so too, but is everyone okay with that? I mean,
Yeah, I think right now, you know, I don't know that we may have a standard that couldn't be enforced if we wanted to. I mean, whether it be the sawmill or some other things, there's probably as I understand it, 55 is not very much. So in a residential, I mean, somebody's leaf blower is putting out more than 55 decibels. They probably need to tone it down a little bit, but
well, what's commercial? We don't have commercial,
well,
commercial is the use, right?
yeah, the commercial would be a
So
sawmill.
the sawmill can be in a residential area.
No, that was my mistake. This is, when it says residential, cause George had a discussion earlier, what George is referring to on residential is that's me and my house. And agricultural is a farmer making noise, the noise he makes.
Yes,
And commercial is a commercial use,
yes.
so it's not a commercial zoning.
Well, I know, but the commercial can be in the middle of the houses.
Can be.
Yes,
Correct.
I got you, I'm sorry.
Now, that commercial will have to go through a conditional use review.
Yep.
And these sound standards will be applied. If sound is an issue, you can require an acoustical study, but this will be the target that they shoot for, not
Right, but we're increasing it from
Not- yes, that's
55
correct.
to
to
75.
make it,
I mean, sorry, to
60.
65.
yeah, because 55 is not reasonable for
And-
for a commercial.
Well, and on a commercial use, if somebody wants to put it into in my mind, they come in for a non-conditional use in a heavily residential area, they wanna go to 65, we can turn them down and say that's
Or-
not appropriate in this site.
Or require some
Or require
mitigation measures, which
mitigation,
are
okay.
mentioned in here.
Right, exactly.
So the level doesn't bother me, because we do have the ability to say no, or here's what you've gotta do.
Yeah, and I think I remember now, like, just ambient noise can
Yeah.
get almost to that level, so
Right.
I think I just, thank you.
Okay?
Yep.
And the only minor change,
Example,
George, is
Yeah.
I would define impulsive
that-
intermittent,
that met those
just
decibel
what is
levels,
that?
but
I mean, I'm assuming that's
showed
blasting
inside
or,
of an insulated building,
Yeah.
it's also decreased.
I don't know what a
the
big
decibels
bang
outside,
thing
so,
would be.
yeah, we
Any other questions on noise,
raised
comments?
mitigated.
Yeah.
Okay, the last one is,
Last one.
affordable housing.
The ones that George
Oh,
is,
this is just policies, no, we haven't even,
Yeah.
well, we're running out of time, so.
Okay, so here's a decision point for you folks. There's actually 3 separate issues here. One is tiny homes, actually 4. One is accessory apartments. One is individual siting of mobile homes on lots outside of mobile home parks, and then mobile home parks. Pretty much what all of this is doing is bringing the town into compliance with state law on these somewhat related topics. This is what LD 2003 and 1829 are driving at. The manufactured housing industry has been pounding the state for decades to get towns to not restrict mobile home parks and individual siting of manufactured housing. And the pendulum is shifting even more toward clamping down on towns' ability to regulate these things. So everything that's proposed in these draft amendments brings the town into compliance with these somewhat related laws. So the question becomes, the town can't change anything in this, it's all mandated by state law. Are you comfortable with putting those together under that framework? Or do you wanna go out and present to the public every one of these individuals on top of all?
these are state requirements.
These are all state
That's it,
requirements.
that's all. I would say, that's my vote, right? This is the state driving this.
There's nothing the town can do different.
But I think we need to present them as this package that you've got right here.
Yes.
So that
I mean,
people understand.
this was just in the codification.
Yep.
Wasn't even gonna be,
right, yeah.
because you can't change it. But
Yep.
what you decided to do was pull it out.
Yeah.
And at least present it to the public as policy.
And they can sit there and discuss it and complain, but again, it's
Yeah,
kinda like we've done with affordable housing in the past, which is, you
so
know.
the changes will be, tiny homes have to be allowed as an individual house. They have to be allowed as a accessory dwelling unit, standalone. Accessory apartments, like somebody converting a garage, that's a standalone. Currently, it has to be either within a barn or like on top of a garage. This says no, it can be, state law says it can be a completely standalone unit. Mobile homes on individual lots, the town, like many communities, had higher restrictions than the state. Had to be at least 14 feet wide with a 3/12 pitch roof. The state has clamped down on that. If it meets the manufactured housing standards, it's acceptable on individual lots. Mobile home park size, currently Durham requires a minimum of 20 acres. And each individual mobile home site has to have at least an acre and 200 feet of frontage within the park. That can't fly anymore with the state. Maximum is, what did I put in here, 20,000 square feet and 100 feet wide on the septic system. And also, you cannot cap it at 20 acres. It's whatever's needed for the park itself and any of its buffers and right of way and everything else. So this is all, again, and you cannot make them build a subdivision road in a mobile home park. They can basically have a commercial driveway 20 feet wide. And finally, you cannot make them have underground utilities, you must allow them to be above ground. So these are all mandated by the state.
Okay. Alright,
okay, so that's the stuff, thank you for doing that, George. So we've kinda gotta get to, when, you know, the next step of how do we wanna break this up and
wait, sorry, were you starting to talk about process for the meetings?
meetings and.
But what about the rest of the stuff? I have some comments, like, does anyone else have any other comments on the other items that we didn't talk about? The administrative stuff? Can I just run them through you,
Go,
George?
so?
Okay, the zoning boundary one.
Yeah.
No concerns or questions with what you typed up, the changes there, but I do think that this is going to bring attention to this item. And it's going to be now in the planning board's court versus the appeals.
Right.
So, we don't have to figure this out now, but in the future, probably near future, we should understand how do we do this? What does it take to review a zoning district boundary, right? If someone comes in, you know, what does that look like, that process? So just comment there. Another one is campgrounds, kind of flew by that one. We talked about changing the timeline that people could stay at a campground. Are we,
Yes, that's still in there.
so we are proposing the change there?
No,
We're not.
still in there. You wanted to have limits against year round, right?
It's,
It extended it from, I think,
September to
September
October.
15th to October.
Yep.
But you still have no year-round camping,
so no changes with the timeline there?
No.
Okay,
other than fixing the October 15th versus September 15th.
okay.
Yeah.
And then two more, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Planning board deadlines, we talked about this a little bit today. What we're changing is requesting for the meeting deadline to have more time,
3 weeks versus 2 weeks.
okay,
For submissions.
so,
And 5 copies versus 10 copies.
yes, yes. And so it's from when they submit the materials to when the meeting is?
Yeah.
Right,
Do you want to put in a resubmission?
yeah, that's what I was wondering, if we
Yeah,
should do
Like,
that.
because we need that to know.
Yeah. And this is a resubmission, right, they're already in application status, so we told him 1 week tonight, but I don't know what you all think, 1 week, 2 weeks ahead of the meeting.
I would almost use the same timeline.
that it's there's a submission, in other places I've worked,
Yeah.
this is the date of the meeting, we back off this amount for, submissions. And whether you're coming back with resubmissions or whatever, because it could be a really complicated resubmission.
It could be,
you know,
and
and
needs
so
review.
we need to George all the time and us all the time, and kind of stop taking things at the meeting. If it's a very simple, here's the deed, I didn't have it last time, but complicated site plans or whatever. So I would just say it's 3 weeks before the meeting, submission or resubmission.
We were just trying to help him out, basically.
Well, so what that will do, I understand why we would do it, but
Well,
That's good.
what that will do is if we only have once a month meetings, they're not gonna, many times, not be able to submit within a week. So they'll be pushed out 2 months. I understand why,
Okay.
Yeah.
but it'll be, I mean,
A week would be fine, to at least get it a week before the meeting.
For the resubmission.
that's what I was, yeah,
Or
what about,
resubmission.
I would go at 2 weeks, because
I think it may
2
be a
weeks
dip,
for a regularly scheduled meeting, but in this case.
So
we-
3 weeks for a new submission and 2 weeks for a
Oh.
resubmission.
Because the impact's really more on, I would like to see us getting them before the meeting, and you've done a good job of that. Most of the people have done a good job of that, not everybody has. But if they get it to you a week before, you're not gonna get it to us till the next week, because you're not working.
Right.
That's my concern, I think it has to be 2 weeks.
Yep.
Because that gives you time to prep it and get it, put it up on, and not just us, but everybody else is gonna wanna see the,
in the consultant if there's
and
one.
there's a consultant. if
Okay,
they-
so 3 weeks for submissions, 2 weeks for resubmissions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay, great. My last comment
Are there
is,
are there legal requirements for that?
You can
No.
put it in the ordinance.
There's no state legal requirements, okay.
my last comment is the proof of payment. I was just curious if we're putting the onus on the applicant, which I'm okay with, but can the town not provide that? Like, doesn't the town have,
You can get the assessor's office to confirm it.
Yeah, I don't think we wanna have,
Okay.
I think we're trying
just-
to take things off the town is my thought.
okay,
And, I got my tax receipt when I paid it the other day, and I think people should, if it's the taxes, they should just bring it in and,
yeah, so what that would look like is say I'm applying for something, I have a mortgage and it's tied into my mortgage, I would just provide a proof of that with
Yeah,
my
and you get that
mortgage.
from the tax collector.
Yeah, or from
Taxes are
my,
current.
I think just taxes, right, is what we're looking for.
Taxes are current.
Or maybe if they owe them a fine or something like that, but I don't know, at least my thought was it's not about,
But if they've
I
got
paid my
5 running
mortgage.
tax liens,
no, I'm not saying mortgage, I'm saying taxes. But the way I pay my taxes is
Oh,
to
escrow,
my, like,
through escrow, that's
yeah,
right.
so like, I'm just trying to figure out how people are gonna show us this.
it doesn't matter what your mortgage company's doing, it's what they have on town record.
Ask the town collector or something, tax collector.
Yeah, so go to the town collector and
Yeah,
ask, okay,
yeah, I mean, I think we need to put stuff on the onus of
okay,
the applicant.
that's fine, yeah. Thank you, that's it.
Anyone else? Okay, now let's talk process. So we're talking at least 2 meetings, and my thought would be 2 plus, I'm not sure we get through all of this, I mean, we were an hour plus here talking about 4 things tonight. My concern is that 2 meetings enough, when we're opening it up to discussion with a whole bunch of people.
What's the timeline, when do we have to have these meetings by?
I guess by the end of the year, George?
Yeah, we're trying to fit them in before the holidays,
Okay,
get too crazy.
and George, you're presenting on these, we'll be there, but you're leading the,
I'll do the
as
presentations.
the subject matter expert?
Yeah, I'll just do the presentations.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, we could talk about that, but we don't have to go through it. On this one, we're changing A to N or something, obviously it's the big stuff.
Okay, so 2,
Say at least 2 with more.
At least 2, and maybe,
And then see where you are.
yeah, that was my thought, is that if we don't get there, because some of these we may call minor policy changes, but some of them are going to be, contentious. Remember, right, my first town meeting was, we wanted to go to 16 foot of private way, and it got completely blown out of the saddle, and so there are people who are emotional on both sides of
Yeah.
the width of that saddle gun. So,
And if it goes there, punt it.
what's
yeah,
that?
exactly,
If
like,
it
like,
goes there, punt it.
Well, I think,
next topic, we've heard, like, hear it, right, listen, take notes. go to the
If
next.
you see it's gonna be, if
So-
you see it's gonna be controversial, let's just keep it out of this one and deal with it.
Yeah, and I don't know that
Yeah,
we
oh, I
have to
see,
punt the
yes.
topic, I think we just need to come back.
I
and
see what
say-
you're saying.
But
Somebody
what you don't
really-
want-
Yeah.
What you don't want, we're saying these are minor policy issues, they shouldn't be controversial. If they are controversial, they're not minor policy issues.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's
Well, and
really-
I think it depends on how controversial. There will always be somebody who's going to come up and not like something. So I don't know that we pull a good idea just because one,
Well,
what
I
we-
don't know, and remember, all of these are in one warrant.
Yeah, but then I'm talking about
There's
one person, so if you remember, there was a guy who came, was very concerned about duplexes.
Yes,
And he was very outspoken
Yes.
about duplexes, get it passed pretty overwhelmingly.
yes.
So I think it's our job and the select board's job to say, you know what, there are people who are upset about this, but we think we can still get it through, or we tweak it, we come back later and say, what about this? Cause you can pull it up until the last minute. You just have to
Yeah,
rewrite the
well,
article.
we'll take a temperature check.
Yeah, that's good, that's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So maybe what we do is maybe try and get a meeting, like if we need 2, maybe 3 before the end of the year, one a month.
well, we've scheduled one for the 15th, because we're gonna use, part of that for,
Oh, right, so we are having one of these on the 15th,
we are,
okay.
I don't think we should, as long as we're coming together, let's get
Yeah.
something,
Okay, so we'll
down
have
the
one
list.
October 15th, and then maybe one in November, and then see if we need one in December.
Earmark the third Wednesday.
Do we wanna wait that, or can we just do them?
Or,
George, how quickly you need to turn stuff around? I may be rushing this. I mean, how,
We're gonna get that website set up. And the other issue is you don't wanna schedule a public meeting too short, too close out, because you won't be able to get the word out. So that'll be kind of a waste.
Well, right now, we've gotta get the word out before the 15th of October, and we're just
One
coming
thing
in
to
to have,
post it for the
get it on the web.
rescheduled meeting, but to banner the whole thing, that's tight, that's a tall order.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
So I guess what do we do, you're right, we do wanna get, there's a couple of town blasts and there's a couple, there's,
Right.
that we wanna get it out there as far as we can because you're right, absolutely right on enough notice. We did a good job last year on selling this and having meetings and all that other stuff. And that, I think, reduced the pressure. So, I mean, we can do the 15th now for just,
Yeah, and just be aware the town manager is probably going to reserve this room, and he's circulating for the regional, all of the non-Portland area towns are gonna come here to meet. And he gave me the dates today that they're holding open are the 22nd, 29th, and November 13th. And they're only gonna use one of those. but,
for what?
They're gonna have a regional meeting of all the towns that.
Okay, in other words, we can't use it at the same
Yeah.
time, got it.
well, although
Potentially,
Well,
one of
I
those.
put in our bid before that, but I understand losing. So the 15th, can we be ready to do something? And maybe it's a part,
Well, maybe it's the other way around, we talked about doing the policy first, maybe we try and do the other,
That's an idea,
like do the
administrative changes
codification.
first.
Or I don't know if we're talking codification, but yeah, the smaller ones.
There's like typographical and grammatical errors. and-
Yeah.
On the 15th?
Yeah,
so what are we gonna do on the 15th?
Yeah, because we could do that because we've had all the stuff.
some controversial.
Yeah, we don't have to do the what might be talked about, even if we consider it minor, you could do that,
I mean, you never
you never know what.
you never know.
So some part of this, and even if nothing other than, you can spend an hour explaining codification and what it's gonna look like. Cause we've never talked about what the webpage is gonna look like.
Mhm.
So, people are gonna wanna know, well, I'm gonna approve codification, what's that gonna do for me? And I don't know how to explain that. I mean, it maybe show Mechanic Falls website or something like that. So-
Well, I wonder if we need to talk admin stuff and like logistics process, I say we do that later. Like we
Okay.
focus
We don't
on
really
these
have it yet.
topics,
that makes
right,
sense.
like,
So what do we wanna do on the 15th?
remind me, are we talking codification? we were gonna generally bring that up at one of these meetings?
Yeah, that's really one of the administrative things,
Okay.
it's not a policy thing.
Right. So we could talk about that, and what about the state ones?
Well, the
Ones
list
that are
is-
being required by the state?
Okay, the list is on page 41 of the packet. In the staff notes on codification, there's the 9 minor policies, which I think we're gonna lump, you're okay with lumping 7, 8, and 9 together?
The manufactured and,
Yeah. So we'll.
What page was that, George?
Page 41 of the packet. Down in the lower right-hand corner, you'll see the numbering. 41.
Yeah, I just don't, in any one meeting, I'm concerned about dumping too much. I'd almost recommend we start with 3 meetings. So you're talking administrative changes,
Yeah,
plus the codification, right?
yeah, that's
Discussion.
number 1,
Oh, okay.
the editorial changes.
Yeah.
so those 10 administrative changes,
Yeah.
Is the state in here? It is, right? The state one?
That's a minor policy.
No, the,
manufactured housing and all that.
Yeah.
No,
No,
that's the policy,
That's minor
and we
policy,
bought
that's
that out.
tough.
oh, we brought it into policy. That's right.
Yeah, so I think that's workable,
Okay,
because we've got pretty much everything ready to go on that.
okay.
I could hopefully set up the website tomorrow afternoon, possibly check with Kim really about whether or not they could get it into the news blast this Friday. Does that go on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, today's what, so if you tell her tomorrow,
Yeah.
and, you know, just, hey, here it is, she wouldn't be able to link, I don't think, stuff, you don't have it ready.
I'll get my handy AI assistant put together. and-
Do you have a name for him? Or
But
her?
if you say, hey, at 6:30 or do we just wanna tell them 7:15, because we gotta do this other thing first,
Hmm.
and that's gonna be some period of
Oh,
time.
dang. Yeah, I don't know.
Or we do
about-
him last, I know, that's the other thing,
Do we,
we do the codes,
oh, God.
that first, and then
Or why don't you set it for 7:30?
we can take a break and stuff like.
Actually, it's just a public hearing, isn't it? Or is it?
No, it's public hearing and something, so
And then-
Oh.
you're gonna be looking for a decision.
So that,
I don't know about doing that.
these guys have not been overly well prepared,
Right,
and there's lots of questions.
yeah,
I think it's gonna go an hour.
at least. We could just say you've got an hour, we can get through what we can, and then it's pushed, the remainder's pushed to the next meeting.
Well, but we moved it ahead, you know, created a special opportunity
Yeah,
to keep it moving,
Yeah,
and now we're
yeah.
gonna say we're not gonna keep it moving.
well, we could, we have an hour, but if it goes beyond that,
I think, you know, the other thing, if it goes beyond that, we're sitting with a bunch of people who wanna get, I'd rather go first with
yeah,
this stuff.
but could,
You know, and if we don't get to him, or we, you know, we run late getting to him, or we just don't we do him and him being bulky waste or whatever they're calling it there, and just be done with that.
what if we just do it on a different day?
Yeah, I'm thinking of a different meeting, you know.
Yeah, different meeting.
It sounds, Jerry has to, you know, we have to find out now what the 22nd, 29th, and then, you know, I guess it could go into November.
You should
But I
do
hate to
one this
start it.
month. You
What's
should
that?
do one this month.
We should or shouldn't?
I think you should.
We should, so we just need to find out from, can we just tell Jerry, look at Jerry, we want the 29th?
Yeah.
You please don't.
Yeah, let me talk to him about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you're gonna scrub this for the 15th, right?
I think we're not
That'll
gonna
give
have
us more
time.
time to do it right.
Yeah, I mean, we can use that time if there's any more questions we've come up with, which we're kind of beating these things to death, but I just don't think we're gonna be able to get much done beyond.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Do we have any other,
Can we just,
you won't have anything on that night.
we won't have any other plan,
No.
what are we
On the
petitions?
On the 15th, you,
Oh, right,
You're just gonna do that.
right,
That's
right,
a continuation of this
Yeah.
meeting.
yeah.
That will take a good hour plus in my mind.
It could. And so we're talking about the 29th, right, not the 22nd?
Or the 29th, depending on which meeting they are here.
Okay, I can't be here on the 22nd, but that's okay, you guys go forth and conquer.
Have to watch
But I
on
can be
TV.
here on the 29th. I'll watch it.
Yeah, I guess it would be good to know from Jerry sooner rather than, because it would be good to, the sooner we get that out to people, then the better, so that people have a chance to read everything, to understand, book the 29th, cause there's school stuff and there's other things that people have going. Wednesdays, until this thing that came up with Jerry, Wednesdays have been fairly free. I mean, Monday, you got Mondays and here, and Thursdays and some others are pretty well taken, but Wednesdays seem to be a good thing. So if he could just pick a date, or if he says, hey, you pick a date, we
Well,
can
they're
do.
probably checking with all of the people, the managers around.
Well, we need an answer. you
Yep,
know,
I'll
he's-
tell them tomorrow.
I understand, but I mean, we need an answer. And if he can't do it, we'll just say, we'll take the 22nd, you take your time finding people.
Alright, and then now let's plan the November one. Want to?
I think the more you lay down now, so that if there's something else that somebody wants to do on a Wednesday, we've booked the day.
Mhm.
So we're on there, kind of deal. So the 5th is our meeting. So the 12th, the 26th, I think is probably night before Thanksgiving. So people are probably on vacation.
The
So
26th,
The 26th.
or 27th is Thanksgiving, yeah.
Yes, so 26th would be the night before.
I'd recommend the 12th, just in case, like, if we need more time after that, we have it, versus the 19th. But,
Does that work for everybody? You're talking the 12th?
November 12th,
I can do either 12 or 15.
Works for me.
okay.
So November 12 and October, so that was at the first meeting, or we're gonna try to do it on October 22 or 29?
I can't do the 29th,
You can't do the 29th?
but you can do the
I can't do it
22nd, so.
22nd, but have it 22nd.
Yeah, and then
Well,
just
let me
look
see
at,
what Jerry says, if he nails down the other one, I'll let you know.
yeah, just pick that
Whichever
date.
one they don't take.
Yeah, exactly, that's a good point, and then just, we'll read it on the bulletin, or you can send us an email.
Great, and then we'll see if we need another one.
Cause we're probably, and so then after that, after the November thing, George, you'll be wrapping this all up to get to the select board
Exactly.
in January?
Yeah, we'll hopefully get it to them by their second December meeting. And then they can process it in January and decide whether they wanna put out to the town meeting.
The select board.
Yeah.
Cause we then have to fit in public hearings.
Yeah.
And, so, I guess 2 public hearing, or 1, depends on how complicated we think we might be able to do it.
Yeah.
But have we heard anything from agriculture about what,
No, and I asked them, so here's the other part of this, is that after the first of the year, sometime late January, early February, you're gonna get a draft codified ordinance that has all of those changes, 139 changes put into it. So you'll wanna review that, and we can still make changes to it.
Okay.
We just tell them, change this, so you're gonna need some processing time, so it'd be good to get this all in. And this is gonna have all of this is gonna have the format of this ordinance. It's not gonna have the format of the new ordinance, because I think that would be very confusing. So the first warrant article will be, put all of these changes into this ordinance.
the old ordinance?
Yeah, and then the second article will be to codify this ordinance with all those changes in it.
So the first article passes, all the policies are town approved
The
policies.
administrative changes.
It's
Second
already
one
done.
passes, then it becomes, you put it in the format of the codified.
That's the warrant article, it says take all of those things that just passed and put them into this ordinance in this format. So that way people can, as we're going through the spring, people can be looking at, here's what's changing in this ordinance, which has always been here. And then it's gonna go into the new format, and here's the new format with all of the changes that have already been put into it, just the technical.
And we may wanna have more, cause I'm thinking the things the state mandates would be we still have to have a warrant article to approve those.
Those are gonna
They're in
be
there.
ones that are required right now.
So that would be approved in the second warrant.
No, it'll be approved in the first warrant.
But our second meeting, yes.
The first warrant article is gonna incorporate
It's the
whatever's
policy.
required by state law on all those.
It's all gonna be in
It's
there.
all gonna be in this.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, we just, and as we're doing this, we'll find out how hard it is, how, in terms of people understanding it.
Yeah.
Because it's an awful lot, and people who pay no attention to the town meeting, will have to really work on presentation, I think.
And that's all the more reason to keep any major policy changes out of this, because if we could just keep pounding that drum of, look.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think some of
This
these,
isn't a major policy.
yeah.
I looked at them again, and I don't think anybody's gonna care whether it's the appeals board that does it or we do it.
No.
Or, the date that they submit to their packet, those kinds of things, I almost think we read them off and move on, or we'd say, read these. It's the stuff we talked about tonight and some of the other, things that may or may not be an issue.
Well, yeah, I mean, all of those items that you just brought up, John, are part of the codification, right? We're not reading all those out, are we? 139 of them?
Oh, no, well,
We're gonna summarize,
We'll
whatever,
summarize.
give examples.
Yeah, give examples.
yeah, exactly,
Yes.
that's, yeah,
Okay.
no,
We have it all available on the website.
Right, we'll hand out, maybe have packets available for
there was a
people.
guy who used to come early on, I'm dragging this out, I'm sorry, but man, he would sit there and argue English.
Yeah.
The meeting we had over, changing road widths, and a couple others, he came and it was like, man, he was just really talking verbiage. He must be your brother.
But there's a lot of bad verbiage to talk about in this thing. That's
Yeah,
why we're
no,
doing
there was-
codification.
I can't remember, but it was all, it was like, really?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you may not have been there, but
I'll
He
have to
came-
ask him.
I don't know that I've seen him since. So have you seen your brother lately?
I don't have a
At
brother
town meetings?
that
Mr.
I
Chair,
know of.
Okay, make a motion.
Yes,
make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Moved and second, any discussion, raise a hand, please. It is unanimous, George.
Alright, that was good.
Thank you, George, for everything you continue
Yeah, thank
to
you,
do.
George, so much work,
Fantastic.
so much work went into that, holy cow.
To say he's not just a pretty face, is he?
George is not just.